Ladies and gentlemen, the Open Task Podcast is back for another episode. I be your brother, C. Miles Smith III, aka Dr. Killer Cow, aka the guy that lives in Nashville that has a podcast with his best friend from Morehouse, one of his best friends, Joe Carlos. Joe, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. Thank you, Calvin. I love that intro. I appreciate it. I'm great. Tonight, I love your shirt. Obviously, tonight I didn't get my Sopranos gear in time, so we went with Bolton Academy Dad, made by Groovy. But I love obviously what you're wearing. Special night.
Very special night. Very special night. We've been building up to this episode since the inception of the Open Task Podcast. One of the very first things we said when we eventually got to the Sopranos, which is our topic tonight, we said we must have legendary the legendary Christian Washuku, who is our Morehouse brother, residing in New York City, the borough of Queens. Let's we got to be very specific, and is works for Bloomberg, the Philanthropic Association. I don't want to mess it up, Christian.
Yes, Bloomberg Philanthropies.
Okay, so Bloomberg Philanthropies. I have the
check never bounces. Always on time.
The money is very long.
It's like a brick. Boom. So we knew when we talked about this series, we were going to have Christian on, and so Christian, thank you for joining us, man. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored when Joe called me and mentioned that you all were thinking of having me on the podcast. I was smiling from ear to ear, and so also thank you for being patient with me because I was rewatching episodes. But I'm really, really thrilled and honored to be with you.
Well, see, we knew that dedication was there. You know what I mean? Hey, look,
absolutely,
it is our pleasure for real. And guys, you bet. Hey, like tonight's episode, I say this about every episode, like how it's our favorite. I already know this episode is going to be fantastic because we got three people here who really love this TV series.
No pressure.
No, but that was for you.
It was for you, Nina. Shout out to Nina Shea. No, but I couldn't agree more. And Christian, we're so excited because we're talking Sopranos.
Yeah.
And we, the three of us collectively love the Sopranos. If there's a show that will never, HBO has a few shows that will never go off on any of their platforms.
Yeah.
One is Sex and the City, which I could do as well. Obviously, season 2 was the first season of a TV show I ever bought. But obviously the Sopranos is the other. If you type in S on HBO Max, you're going to see the SEO at HBO Max is going to go. It's going to take you to Sex and the City and Sopranos, which started around the same time. And ended around the same time. They're definitely contemporaries. When they own Sunday nights, and I'm very, very excited. And, a lot of things happen obviously in between there, but I'm very, very excited that we are able to discuss the 7. I'm going to call it 7 seasons instead of 6. A and B.
I think that's fair.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The 7 seasons. I'm glad we're establishing that. The 7 seasons. So that won't be a regret later. I'll be like, no. 6 and AB. No, but speaking of regrets, do you have any from the last episode about the Oscars?
So I thought about it. It's not really a regret, even now that I think about it. It's more of kind of an update for those that listened throughout. One of the things that was mentioned was a lot of people were appreciative of the fact that we had the discussion where you and the great Derek Cameron. Shout out to Derek. Thank you again.
Shout out to DC. Thank you so much, Derek. I really,
where you guys sold me on Make, and so I finally did watch all of Make. I got through it in mostly one sitting. I did I took a little break in there, but generally I got through it in one sitting, and it was Oscar worthy. I think that the performances that are recognized are great performances. It did enough for me to make me pull Citizen Kane out of my deck here and actually rewatch Citizen Kane again. So I guess it did what it was supposed to do. I don't ever have to see it again. But
I was thinking about that too. I'm not gonna watch it again. And go ahead.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the I thought that the way it was made was very creative. I enjoyed the cigarette burns. I enjoyed everything. Like, you know, it was a nice throwback. And the story, the narrative, the way it was told was very good. So I see why now, and I'm good.
Well, you know, we didn't make the film, so we were just advocating for it.
Sure.
But yeah, no. But I'm glad you took that time. You said you were going to do it, so I'm glad you did. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought Amanda was great in it again.
Yeah.
And to your, as I stated there, it was another look at the William Randolph Hearst story, right? And so that I think has been told in so many ways. But we got the intimate look at it and how Mank knew them, and of course he was able to write, punch up Orson's script because he was in the inner circle. Which they kind of reference in RKO 281, but you realize later, like, no, Mank, like Hearst they were boys. He was a patron. They were boys. They were patrons though. And so really interesting, very, very interesting how that, obviously how that film transpired, but it's kind of a little engine that could come out of Netflix this year. But thank you for that. So my regret, because that wasn't, but thank you for sharing it. My regret was that I forgot that Malcolm X was not nominated for Best Picture in 1993. I don't know why I forgot that.
Because the man wanted it that way, Joe. That's how the man wanted it.
Absolutely. And the man got it. The man did what the man wanted to do. So the film was not nominated. The film was not nominated. And I went back and I was watching the intros, Billy's intros.
Yeah. Thank you for sending
that. And no problem. And I was going to sing it, but I can't remember the Goodfellas one. And it starts with Goodfellas. So dances with wolves. Da, 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 da. I can't believe that he dances with. No, I'm just kidding. But I want to do the Godfather with everyone. This is a story about a man called Corleone. This man killed everyone, so now he's home alone.
Great.
It's in 1991. Wait for it.
Yeah.
Not a very nice guy. Shot more green in the eye. Someone tell me why his hair is 7 inches high. Godfather 3. I hope there's more. Bring Duval back for Godfather 4.
Nice.
So
bravo.
Yes. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. Now Billy did that 3 times, 3 different years, and I think that was the best one he did just because of the films.
Yeah.
But I was watching 93, like, how's he gonna say Malcolm X? He didn't even mention Malcolm X. He mentioned Spike in the intro, but he didn't mention Malcolm X. So he said Merchant Ivory and he said Merchant Ivory and Spike can get together and make a movie called Howard Beach. And it was like, okay. He said, it's a good joke. If you think about it for a moment. It's a good joke. And to tell us the way to think about it was interesting. And then he said Boys in the Hood, the year before Boys in the Hood, he said it was a David Duke story. Which I'm like, okay. Firing the fastballs early in the telecast. But so that was a regret of mine that I forgot that it wasn't up for best, that it was not up for Best Picture. A travesty. An extreme travesty. And in 1992, Michael Jordan hosted the season premiere of Saturday Night Live, and Nat X, and on that episode, Public Enemy was the musical guest.
Yes.
Blackest show you'll ever see, by the way. Public Enemy was a musical guest. And he had Spike. They had Spike on for Nat X, and he's talking about Malcolm X. He said, "Yeah, we hope to be up for 10 Oscars." He was talking about the film. He's like, "We hope to be up for 10 Oscars," and that was one of them. Obviously, would have been Picture. But it is what it is. So that was a regret, not remembering, not tapping into that anger. So other than that, I'm done, and we can get on getting on.
So that being said, and Joe, I like I said, the man wanted it that way, man. So ultimately the man wins.
I wanted that. Yes.
So
tell me why.
January. Oh, don't please. Oh God.
No, look. I've been doing this Peloton. One of my Peloton rides. It's a 90s pop ride, or not? They're calling it rock, but it's pop, and it just goes to "I Want It That Way." Shout out to Tash Mosley, who in the Tiger office would play. shout out to Jonathan Howard, who would play Britney Spears. First album.
Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Tash.
Yeah, shout out to Jonathan and Tash for Hit Me Baby One More Time. Was belting, Christian.
Yeah.
I mean,
shout out to Jeff Bennett, who danced to Slave for You. Right outside.
Wait, hold on. When did this happen?
This was me. Oh God, and I'm saying this is recorded. But
I work with Jeff's father-in-law listens to our show, Dr. Frank Perry. So tell me.
We were in the hallway, like, where are we going? Where are we coming from? I don't remember. We were in the hallway.
Nowhere. Somewhere important.
Right outside the Tiger. And he did the dance. The
Slave for You?
Slave.
I'm thinking of the other one. Hey, Britney Spears was very big in one was it 114? In 114.
Well, Toxic is still on my playlist. So,
that's a great.
I'll never say anything bad about Britney at all.
Oh, that album, when that album came out, that was played a lot in the Tiger. Yeah. Okay. And so I'm just talking about Britney. The Britney album was played a lot in the Tiger.
Yeah.
98, 99 and 99, 2000. And then that summer, Backstreet Boys had that I Want It That Way. I don't remember the name of that album.
Yeah.
But I will never forget Tash. It would be on we downloaded. We had the MP3s and we playing it loud on the new Max. And where we killed the memory, sorry, Christian. By the time you got them, we had to buy all new stuff.
We treated that like a rental car, boy.
Yeah, that we had the insurance on. But and so I remember Tash singing "I Want It That Way" with all of his heart. Yeah. And but don't want to hear it. Ain't nothing but a party. But anyway. I just thought I think about that every time I hear that song. I think about being in the Tiger. Then it was Elliott Smith, and it was a lot of Fiona. There was a lot of Fiona Apple.
Oh man,
a lot of Win the Pond. Oh no, Win the Pond. Oh, Win the Pond. Yeah. And then Summer '99, it was me and Raj, and it was Mirrorball. Sarah McLachlan, Mirrorball.
Yeah. Fiona Apple, is that Big Mother Africa?
She is Mama Africa. Yes,
Mama.
She's the original Mama Africa, who we usually call a person devoid of soul and melanin.
Yeah.
So perfect.
And the actress, what's this? What is this sister's name? What's the actress from? I can't think of her name. Another Mama Africa. She's in Blue Jasmine. She's in Blue Jasmine.
Michelle Williams, that one or
no.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett.
Who I adore.
Blanchett is
That's such
definitely
a good movie. Blue Jasmine.
She's definitely Mama Africa. I don't think she's ever been in a film with a black person.
I don't think so.
And it's not. I'm like, well, no, she was Life Aquatic. Sayo George. He's Portuguese, okay. But I don't recall them speaking.
No, I don't think so. Wow.
Yeah. So just keep that.
So she's never spoken to a black man on film.
Never. No, I don't recall it. It wasn't in a Woody Allen movie.
That was a Mama Africa then.
Yeah, it's Mama Africa.
All right.
Yes.
Fair enough. All right. So
I just want to say,
how do you fly first class if you don't have any money? I don't know. I just did.
Blue Jasmine, outstanding.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So January 10th of 1999.
Ooh.
January 10th of 1999. That was, man. I was in the depths of it at Morehouse, man. I wasn't anywhere thinking about this show. But that's when it came out. January 10th of 1999. When did you become aware of the show, Christian?
I was thinking about this. I watched The Sopranos from the beginning, and I'm like, well, why? What? So I'm in my junior year of high school in Manson, North Carolina. Warren County. Shout out to Manson. Shout out to Warren County schools. One middle school for the whole county, one high school for the whole county.
Wow.
And at that time, most of my middle school, like my elementary and middle school years, we did not have cable. We lived in like a rural part that they wouldn't bring cable. You either had to have a satellite dish, exactly, which we did not have. My mother was not gonna get a satellite dish. But we eventually, when I was about, I think in the 9th or 10th grade, we were able to get cable. And so right before The Sopranos, like I had cable for the first time. And this show, I don't know if, I think I had read The Godfather by Mario Puzo. I had seen the movies. And so maybe that's why, and The Sopranos, like the name is so good, right?
Yeah.
And, but as I was watching the first season, they're so young. They've gained so much weight by the end of the show.
Eating good,
well,
living good,
right? But so I think it was just that. I think it was my interest in The Godfather, in mafia movies and stories, and just like, let me just check it. And I have cable for the first time, and not the first time, but recently.
Got you. That well, Joe. What about you, man? When did you become aware of it and all that good stuff?
January 10th.
Okay.
HBO was doing its thing. I had cable at a new apartment complex called the Villages of Eastlake.
Yes.
And we had cable out there, and definitely had HBO, and it was advertised like crazy all through Christmas.
Yeah.
HBO and mafia stories, they love, it particularly at Christmas time.
Yeah.
But they were advertising like crazy, and they did a huge build up to the show. And so I was all in from the first episode, and would watch at actually later would watch over at my friends Wayne and Seth's house off of Cascade. Later that spring. Seth went away for a little while that spring, and of '99, and so it was just me and Wayne, but we would watch every Sunday night, and it was appointment television, and such that we felt like we were the only people who were watching it, because there wasn't really there was no one else to really talk to about it but each other, and so there was no social media to share. We just talked to each other about theories about the show. So I was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I was not there in the beginning, man.
But you're here now.
I'm all the way here now.
Like Celie said, I'm here.
So I didn't really. My homie Bernard Clayton. Lived in Peyton Garden Estates. So a lot of luminaries stayed in Peyton Garden Estates, in the hood. My man Panama Jackson, a lot of people were there. But Bernard was the barber to the stars. He had the money. He and Fizza, Farai and Tetwa had the money and the wherewithal to have cable legally, the right way.
God bless him. God bless him.
And so I know that they were watching along with my buddy Trey Pinchback. Few other people were watching, and
Trey probably had a satellite in
Trey probably had, and he probably had the advanced laser discs,
Yes. But to be honest, Trey is a pinchback. Yes.
Shout out to my man Trey Pinchback, man. One of the
still at Goldman Sachs. 20 years at Goldman Sachs.
Hey man, one of the greatest. Alabama's produced a lot of great people, man.
He's easily the most digestible from the class of 01, at least.
I'm sure JC's happy to hear you say that.
Yeah, well, and JC knows, and they grew up together, so yes,
they did.
Yes.
So they all were on it. I was not. I actually watched. I sat down and watched an episode when I went on a trip with the late great Dr. Thomas Blocker, when he took us down to the I believe it was the AAMC conference in Miami, and they had it on. We had HBO. And so
the little booklet, right? Yeah, the little booklet.
Yeah.
Hotel booklet. Yeah.
And so the first episode I actually watched was an episode I'm gonna circle back to Isabella during the first season. And that was my intro to The Sopranos. And I was like, whoa, this is incredible. And I missed the boat, obviously. So I took some time, and by the time I got to med school, I was able to kind of binge, and I had my own cable and everything like that, and on demand was becoming a thing. So I was able to catch up, but yeah, I didn't get on till late, man. And I really watched it organically on my own, just caught it and was like, yo, this is amazing. And the rest is history, as they say. Yeah. So, Sopranos was fantastic television. And when there wasn't a whole lot of fantastic television on it, it was a void at that time, really.
Yeah.
So definitely came on late. You guys were early adopters, and I'm sure you the wait between episodes was not very pleasurable for you guys.
The worst.
Yeah.
The absolute worst.
Yeah.
The absolute worst.
Yeah.
Now I want to say this though. I started, and then I was on campus, and we didn't have premium cable, Okay. So I was with Wayne and Seth through the spring of '99, but then I lived in the triplex.
Yeah. God bless
the next for the next 2 years, and we didn't have
you're watching Any Given Sunday every day.
yeah, or you'd have to go to a friend's house to watch to hopefully on a Sunday at a specific time. I mean, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I know Christian. I know you have a story about that.
I do.
Yeah. Please, go ahead, Christian.
Sure.
How did you do that? Yeah.
I just want to shout out Bakari Sellers. The summer. So this was season. Was it season 4 or season 5? Let's just say season 4.
Okay.
And I'm in Atlanta. I was doing a program. I was in UMark.
That's summer 02. That's summer 02.
Okay. So what season is that?
That was season 4. That was season 4.
4.
Yeah. That was
and I was
Mark Ustar. You were a Mark Ustar.
I was a Mark Ustar. I was living on Clark's campus, and Bakari they gave their Sundays to me, and I would every Sunday at 9 I was over at their house to watch The Sopranos, and as a thank you, I brought them Bubba burgers, like the Bubba brand.
Yeah. Something tells me that was summer 03. I don't know why I thought that was summer 02, but
was it
in my mind, I think it was 03 because they were freshmen 0102.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So in my mind, because summer 02, I hung out with you and the great Travis Williams.
Everyone thought that I was going to be an Omega.
That was a motley crew there.
Hey man.
I had a Ford Explorer, and
he had an Explorer, and Christian was
Explorer, and I was.
And look. Go ahead, Christian.
We were everywhere together. It was
everywhere. Like Randy Newman says on I Love LA, we were born to ride.
Yeah.
That was literally.
God bless Travis. Travis, for all I know, Travis listens to this because Travis is a good brother.
Travis would just appear. Man. Travis would just appear.
Yeah.
At different times. Yeah. And I remember because we'd be in the caf eating.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that's where the summers at Morehouse.
Yeah.
That is true. That's where friendships are made. That's where
it's the glue, and it's the glue that keeps the whole thing together. Because there's literally no reason for all of us to be there in like this hodgepodge. It's like a salad. There's no reason for all these little different pieces, but then you're there. Yeah, and then later you could rely on that.
Yeah,
as the strength to hold this.
We always have the summer of '99. You know what I mean? Like the summer 2000. You know what I mean?
Well, thank gosh for summer. And summer of '97. Even though I didn't know you, but you were there. You were definitely there.
Your life nonetheless
in the summer science program. Yes, good Lord, I couldn't stand any of those kids in the summer science. Oh gosh,
we were the greatest.
But nonetheless, I think it was summer 03, Christian, because they wouldn't have had a spot. They wouldn't have had a spot.
That makes sense.
I mean, and you could have caught by that point. They were doing reruns regularly, so like the Sunday nights they would probably have like the catch ups because at that point, like starting with season 3, really they started to take the multi-year breaks. So season 1 and season 2 and season 3 came kind of back to back, 99, 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
Then they were late with season 4 because of 9/11, and they they took the towers out of the opening montage.
Yeah.
And then between season 4 and season 5 was actually 2 years. So season 5 didn't come out until 2004, and then we know the rest about 6 and the delays there. So it's very likely that those timelines get kind of mixed up and lost anyway. But
they do. I mix those good fun summers with Christian up. That's what I'm.
But they were all fun. I mean, listen, we don't listen. I mean, it was a time. It was a time. Both of those summers were. It was a good time to be alive and a good time to be in Atlanta and a good time to be a Black man who went to school in Morehouse.
Absolutely. So you remind me, man. It was appointment viewing, and like I was in med school at that point, where I got into it. And like the crew I was in, like we would watch it religiously. We watched from pretty much season 3 onward. We watched it together as a crew, and then gradually people would graduate as they should from medical school, and I had my own struggles, so I picked up a new crew, and by the end of it, we would actually make dinners around the theme. So my crew, Candace Shipman, Iman Spalding. Every now and again, somebody else would kind of weave their way into our mix. But we would we made things like Dead Karen Ziti. We made one night I made different pizzas. I had a white pizza, I had a margarita pizza, and then I had like the like supreme pizza. And like we would just go to town. We would get cannolis and mozzarella and
I love this. I love this.
And so
I meant to have some prosciutto for today, and I forgot to go get it. I just want to just be eating. I want to go through the white package,
get a plate of
white paper,
yeah.
So like the traditions were so great, and then I would actually there was one season where I was babysitting my godson PJ, and PJ's parents had cable and had The Sopranos. I was not supposed to be watching The Sopranos by any means. So one night when they got back, they were like, "Yeah, so what did you and Uncle Calvin do?" And PJ's like, "We watched The Prados." And they were like, "You watched what?" And I was like, "Oh man, I watched The Sopranos with him." And I got into so much trouble. To this day, PJ's graduating from high school this year, which makes me feel just like terribly old. But that was one of the earlier great memories of watching The Sopranos. So like
that's what uncles do.
Uncles do that. They expose the
early introducer.
Yeah. So Joe, did you have any other traditions or anything that you would like do for The Sopranos? Or?
No, not really. Not throughout. It was. I think it became. So at the 145. So when I lived there for 2 years, we didn't have premium cable. Mm-hmm. We had basic cable. Yes. Through a deal with the city. Yes. We had with the people. We had basic cable. Yeah. Oh, there it is. And so then me and Spence moved to a house after graduation of Parsons, and we had every channel. And that's when on demand, it was 04. So that's when on demand was becoming a thing. Yeah. And while I didn't have really any traditions, it was appointment television. Yeah. Later, it was definitely appointment television. So later, I was watching with J.C. Love III, the probate judge of Montgomery County, Alabama. Yes. But I was watching with Esquire. I was watching with J.C. and we would Jay built his house, and at some point in the last season, mm-hmm. If I wasn't recruiting, the last season was my first year recruiting. So if I wasn't flying off somewhere on Sunday, and Sunday's usually the travel day, then I'd be at JC's and we'd watch the movie. Nice. We watched the show. Nice. And or wherever I was, we'd call each other after, like, did you see it yet? Yeah, I saw it. And we call each other after the show because there was no group me, or WhatsApp, or that didn't exist wherein you could talk about it with multiple people at once. So we talk about it after that, and then we watched the finale together in June. Nice. But we got as much Italian food as we could, and watched that together. So, but it was mostly around food. Our traditions are mostly around food, which is not unlike what you just mentioned.
Sure. I don't want to step too much on the finale. We'll come back. We'll circle back to that. Absolutely.
But I remember specifically I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, for Jordan and Lisa Brunson's wedding, and I had to drive back, which is, Wilmington is like, it might as well be in the ocean. It's so far from Atlanta. Far. Yeah, and we're all coming back to Atlanta, and most of the people at the wedding were Sopranos fans, and so no one wanted to wait. No one wanted to see the West Coast, HBO West. You wanted to be, 07, there was HBO, at that point, right? Yeah. So no one wanted to wait. So, and there were no rules of social media.
It was the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, on Facebook, you just, can you believe that happened? Like, shut up, shut up, watch it. So I remember flying back, to watch, and that's that. But we'll get to the finale later.
Yeah. Right. So let's come back to all right. So Christian, what's your favorite season of the Sopranos?
I've been struggling with this question. I'm going to say, I think in terms of, I'm going to say season 5.
Okay. All right. I like that.
I'm going to say season 5. And there are a couple things that I like about season 5. I love the music choices. I love both the music choices in the episodes, and I love the music at the end of the episodes. And here's a question. I asked this question on Twitter, but I'm not famous. Nobody responded. Literally, no one responded. Was The Sopranos the first show or one of the first shows to use different music at the end of every episode?
I believe it was. They talked about it a little bit on Talking Sopranos. They had a music budget, and they could invest in real licensed tracks. So okay. Yes, and one of the big things for David Chase was not only getting them for the episode as they aired, but getting them in perpetuity. So when they went into syndication or whatever, they owned it. And yeah, I had yes. So that's true.
I mean, it's so the joy of rewatching this. Bless you. Sorry. The joy of rewatching this show, both that song at the beginning and Tony's driving.
Yeah.
Taking that ticket.
Going to your background. Going on in.
Going home. Yeah.
Like he's gonna fly through the living room every time he hits the driveway.
Yeah. And then and you go through this episode, this hour of, and what they cover in an hour is just insane. The range of emotion, and it can the episodes can start off very calm, and by the end it's like everything is in shambles.
Yeah.
And the music that just like sets it, and thinking about how it was to watch it in real time, where this is now gone for a week. I have to think about this for a week. I have to anticipate what's going to come, and that music. And every time I watch the credits, I don't ever skip the opening music, and I never stop it early. I watch the music and the credits all the way through. And so in season 5, I liked a lot of the music. I loved the 11th episode, the test dream. I thought the dream sequences was just brilliant and just revolutionary TV.
Yes.
I loved and just was Tony's relationship with his cousin. His cousin who was Tony has these 2 cousins, Tony Blundetto and also Tony Uncle Al and Chrissy, who he loves, but caused him a lot of pain. If they had been different people, different men, it could have been a very different story.
Long ago.
And so, and in that season, and then there, I forget which episode it is, where Tony says that all of his choices were wrong dealing with his cousin, and then he eventually has to take his cousin out. But that's a piece of all of his problems with New York. But so I'll stop there. But season 5, I think, is my favorite season.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, like, to your point, man, those episodes had some of the best music. Like the choices they made, like the Van Morrison song. In the episode, the penultimate, I think it was the penultimate, either penultimate or the final episode. Just amazing choices of music. It was really good. It was really good. I agree. What about you, Joe? What's your favorite season?
I'm season 4, man, and it hinges really on. Well, I'm season 4. I do love the music, much like when Christian mentioned the music. I mean, you all follow me on social media, I take my Instagram stories music very seriously.
Yes, you do.
And I like to believe that the influence is from Oliver Stone, from Martin Scorsese, from Spike Lee, but also very much so from David Chase. And knowing the right music to go with the right image at the perfect time. And so I think that was definitely, I think the first time I realized it was the end of season 2 when they played Waiting on a Call from You.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh.
It's
the end
so
of
powerful.
season 2.
Yeah.
And you see all the ways they make their money.
Yeah.
And that he's making his money. And at the end, they're celebrating the medals going off to college. She's graduated from high school. But you see all the and you're thinking about it, and Puss is gone and waiting on a call from you. You're waiting, like she's waiting to hear, Angie's waiting to hear from him. He's gone.
Yeah.
It's all relative, and that was the first time I really recognized the music. But season 4, this is some of my favorite episodes are in season 4.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on the favorite episode thing. I'm going to give a quick shout out to well, I'm later going to talk about, the strong silent type, but the strong silent type, white caps. The strong silent type and white caps for me, show everything that's charming, everything that's destructive and dangerous and violent and scary, also about the life that these guys live. Those two episodes to me just really did just jump out. And I think throughout, I like the tone and tenor of where we were going that season. Just
of course you did.
General.
Of course you did.
In general,
I know where you're going with
that. And so, so to that end, season 4 is it for me. What about you, Kevin?
Okay, so mine is season 2. For a lot of reasons. Season 4 was my second favorite, and season 5 was my third favorite. So I love the symmetry we got here. The fact that we got a chance to talk about each of my 3 favorites.
It's interesting we're not saying 6. It's interesting we're not saying 6.
Well, I mean, we can talk.
And we're
about
not saying
that.
3.
Yeah. There was a little unevenness in some of these other seasons.
Agreed.
But season 2, man, just was a tour de force from start to finish. Just completely. I mean, like they went to Italy in season 2. They introduced a character who irrevocably changed how you see Tony Soprano, because he really had his mom was his enemy. That was the arc. But he had a enemy that was on his level with Richie Aprile. And that whole storyline and that arc was incredible. The bust out with Davey Scatino, just incredible episodes, incredible writing in these episodes. They introduced my man Bobby Bacala.
Rest in peace.
Well, no, he's still rest in peace.
No,
to the
character. Bobby, the character.
Rest in peace to Bobby and his trains. Yes.
Blue comment.
We should come. Definitely come back to that. Janice. We get Janice. There's so much that goes on in season 2 that is just incredible. And sets the scene for a lot of the stuff that happens later. My man Furio Venta,
who I like. I know Joe doesn't like Furio. I like Furio.
I have a very
I'm warming up to Furio. I'm warming up to Furio.
I love Furio, and I also hate Furio, and I hope we can talk about this later, because Furio in the second season was incredible. I think there's a distinct moment where Furio literally jumps the shark. And I'd love to talk about that when we talk about our least favorite characters.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, we'll get there. We'll get there.
When we get there,
we'll get there. But just so many, the cameos of season 2 were still it wasn't cheesy like the Eric Mangenius cameo later on. It was more they had a reason to have Jon Favreau on the show. It wasn't gratuitous.
That was cool.
It was very cool.
I'm shocked you didn't mention D-Girl. I'm shocked you didn't mention that.
Well, that's
I'm a vice president.
right.
Okay.
Just just indignant in that moment. How dare you? It was incredible, man. Season 2. And let's just jump straight into it then. Favorite episodes. So I've written down a list. I have 10 episodes that I wanted to mention, but I'm only going to talk about 5, and I'll talk about my favorite, and we can kind of circle back. But my favorite episode is actually from season 2, and it's the Knight in White Satin Armor. Just
great episode.
Just everything came to it set the stage for. Season 1 had a good penultimate episode with Isabella, but certainly this was the penultimate episode. You get a coming to head of the Richie Aprile arc. You get the Irina. Just so much stuff it takes place in this episode. You get your first real good malaprop with the Knight in White Satin. Where's my Knight in White Satin Armor? You know what I mean? The great tradition. Before you get Little Carmine, you get a classic malaprop. Just everything you want in an episode was in the Knight in White Satin Armor. Before I jump into other episodes, because I'm sure you guys have mentioned some on my list. Christian, what's your favorite episode?
So this is another thing that I've struggled with, but I'm going to say season the pilot. I think because it's all there. It's all there. His conflicts are with Chris. The Junior's insecurity. How many hours did I play catch with you? You may run North Jersey, or you don't run your Uncle Junior. I mean, like Tony's like standing there like, what is he talking about? Pussy Malanga, right there. I mean, the very fact that that's who he wants to have a hit on.
Yeah.
And that's who he's calling when he shoots Tony.
Yeah, got Malanga.
The issue with Artie that will resurface. His mother, right?
Yeah.
Junior's in the car.
Yeah.
And he's talking to his sister-in-law about killing her son.
Yeah.
And all she does is turn her head and look out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
So it's all there. And my favorite song, probably my favorite opera song, Kill Bel Sogno di Diretta, from the opera La Rondine. That is what is playing when Tony sees the ducks fly out of the pool, has his panic attack, and that song is also played again in season 5, at the end of I think of episode 11, where they make peace, where Vito and Christopher make peace, and they're in Artie's restaurant. That song is playing.
Oh yeah. He called him a parade float. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
The pilot is my favorite.
Man, coming with the heat, Christian. I love it, man.
Christian's throwing fastball, good enough. Doc Gooden up there.
Yeah, man, Dr. K. I love it. I love it. Joe.
And I love those choices, man. I love those choices. My favorite is Strong Silent Type, and it's really because of the intervention.
Yeah.
And this is so difficult. I mean, we're talking about 70, 80 hours of some of the best television, some of the best programming ever created. Yeah. Obviously.
86
so
episodes.
It is 86 episodes. Thank you. So it is extremely difficult, obviously, to come up with what is your favorite, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
There are reasons. And for me, that scene, and I mentioned it, I just mentioned it before in the previous question, but that scene in the intervention is everything that's right and wrong with the nature of their association with each other.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think some people, they were there because they love Chris.
Yeah.
But you can see why it would be so hard for Chris to heal or to get any better.
Yeah.
Because these are the people, in that group, with his mother there.
Yeah.
Who, Adriana, God bless her. Adriana, God rest her soul as well.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Adriana Lacerda.
Adriana Lacerda. God Lord. She's right over my shoulder.
She's when Booyah Hottie.
Who said that? I forgot that.
Sean Gismonti said that.
Oh yeah. But
not Matt Drinkwater, aka Bevilacqua, but Sean.
Sean Gismonti. So they eventually beat him up.
Yeah.
During the intervention.
Yeah.
The picture, the screen cap for that episode is Paulie holding him by the shirt.
Yeah.
And get in his face. He said, I got to keep it short and sweet. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't write anything down.
Right?
Yeah.
You're weak. He says you're weak. And you're embarrassed with it. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. I will never forget that. That is with me.
Yeah.
I think that episode I pulled it up. It's like November 17th, 2002 or something. It was like something like that. I pulled it up and I looked and I said, no, that was Knights of White Sand. But I pulled it up, I looked at it, I said, man, they were on another plane. They were on just another planet with this episode.
Yeah.
And you saw all the conflicts. You saw everything but Melfi in that room.
Yeah.
Everything.
Right. They needed Melfi.
Pretty much
they needed
Melfi. Badly. So even when the guy's like, I was recovered 3 times, a 3-time loser. Right. So
the great Elias Couture. Hey man.
God bless him. So I love that episode because to me, that's the barest essence of the problem, the paradox that is their friendship, brotherhood, kinship, familial relations, and all that. It's all boils down to that in that scene.
Hey, Christian. Sorry. Go.
I was going to say their face when Adriana reads her letter and says that he can no longer perform as a man. I rewound that so many. I was like, whoa. I mean, that's how it starts. That's how the intervention starts. Yeah. And it just goes downhill from there. Seal reads his letter. Disgusting.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what is your favorite? Which one of the interventions was your favorite?
I said my piece.
I said my piece, Chrissy.
Which one of those was your favorite, Christian? Was it like whose speech to Christopher did you enjoy the most? Because I definitely have one.
I mean, to Joe's point, I mean, Paulie, I don't write anything down, and that was like, it was so both cold-blooded and, I mean, just blistering.
I like Silvio's, man. Silvio's gets me every single time. He's like, I came into the Bing, it was the toilet water, disgusting.
and
then Christian was like, Tony can tell you I had a stomach. And he's like, that's true. He did have he might have had.
I said my piece, Chrissy.
My piece, Chrissy.
It's so great, man.
You kill cassette.
Right. I know what it's like to lose a pet. Don't we know it? That was incredible. That scene. Yes. The strong silence type is and I was just actually talking to somebody about we were watching something else the other night that had a Gary Cooper reference and about the strong silent type, and I was like, yeah, we're doing the Sopranos on the open tabs tomorrow. Like you should listen to. We're surely going to talk about that episode. So that's perfect, man.
That's me.
Some honorable mentions for me. Full Leather Jacket is another one from season 2 that I really like. I think that was the turning point for Richie Aprile when he this is the last.
His face.
It's the jacket.
Yeah.
I got it off of Rocco DeMeo. He was the toughest cocksucker in Essex County.
Yeah. What I mean? Like, and he sees it on her husband.
Yeah, man. Just he came in with the tripe and tomatoes for Carmelo. He was coming in. He was finally being accepted into the family, and then that was it for him. So Full Leather Jacket is another great one. I talked about Isabella. That was the beginning of great dream sequences, and I'm glad you talked about Test Dream, Christian, because there's so many calling all cars, the Test Dream, the much maligned Coma Dreams, which I thought were just fantastic. With Kevin,
I did too.
The Members Only and Mayhem, just so many good dream sequences, but it all started really with Isabella was more of a fever dream fantasy, like a living, like a daydream. But that shows you were dealing with a different show. The Wait in season 4, where the joke that Ralphie makes about Jenny Sack coming to a head, and
that was.
Do you know what you did? Do you know what you did?
That was so crazy.
She's down there in the lower part of the house eating
Twinkie or something, man. Like
Twinkie or a ding dong or something. She's eating in her special box.
Yeah.
Do you know what you did?
I gotta give one shout out to
Johnny was so hurt.
He was. I mean, because he went to bat for her, man. You know what I mean? I mean, and he truly did love Jenny. His love.
That was his heart. Yeah. That was his heart.
Yeah.
Let me just say that season. I mean, I like Paulie, but I mean, come on, and then like Tony asked him about it later on the boat, and Paulie lies and said it wasn't him. Yeah. But I mean, that was crazy. The whole
it's like George
trying
Bush,
to play both sides.
Once it's a lie, you're gonna fight on that lie. So he told that lie. But
Paulie
he was a scandalous guy, man. He really was, man. I got to give a shout out to my man Jeff Jones, a frequent listener and guest on our show, the Luxury Lounge, featuring our main man Artie Bucco, Arthur Bucco, convivial host. You know better than New Jersey Zagat. I love everything about Artie Bucco is incredible. I treat you like royalty. All I get in return is nonstop ass rape. He's such a drama king, and
Artie is so.
He gets into 2 fights on the series. The first time he gets into the fight with what was it? The French lady's name?
The French,
Yes, and that guy beats him up.
Her brother.
Yeah.
Beats him down.
Who steals his money?
He's practicing his speech. He's like, what's the matter? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Answer machine broke? And gets it all wrong.
Right.
Gets his earring ripped out. Just destroyed, right?
Yeah.
But Artie won the fight with Benny Fazio.
He won it. He won it.
Yeah, man. And then did the whole, his Artie was just the man.
Benny got him back. Benny got him back.
Nicely, he got him back. Yeah.
In a very pound of flesh mafioso.
Yeah. Put his hand in the pot. Yeah.
In a million years, you wouldn't have thought, you'd have thought, he'd pick up a pan or something, hit him in the head, or pick up a cleaver.
No.
Ding, ding. Cleaver, right? And get him that way. But no, to put his hand in there, his skin just came off like, So then the sauce is ruined. So the sauce have been working on
the whole batch of sauce. You got to sleep the skin in that sauce. Yeah.
The pot was this big. That was like for a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. Do you guys have any other Christian? You have any others that you want to mention or that we didn't talk about?
So I know, the much maligned season 6.
Okay.
I really like, well, maybe not though, because you didn't mention, Calvin, you did mention Mayhem. I thought that Mayhem was a brilliant episode. And
Yeah.
it was just very sweet the way it ended. Well,
Yeah.
so it ends with Pussy and Vito bringing Carmela money. Oof. And then she sees them in she turns around and they just have these.
She sees that look of menace on their faces. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
they do not want to give her that money.
Yeah.
And then she comes into the room and she's like, Tony, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
And then she swabs his lips and she's like, oh, I bet that feels good, doesn't it? It's the simple things. I thought the way that episode ended was just beautiful.
Yeah. What about you, Joe? Any others that you want to mention that we didn't?
Yeah. The test stream was already mentioned. Obviously, sure. I mean, outstanding television. And I saw it out of order. Okay. So when I was 10 minutes into it, I'm like, what am I watching? What has happened? This has gone off the rails in ways I can't quite describe. Why is Annette Bening here?
Yeah.
Why
is he singing the entirety of 3 Times a Lady? Like
when is the song gonna stop?
But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. And then the bullets were like chocolate bullets.
That was feces, my friend.
Okay, even better. It was feces, even better. I was hoping that was chocolate for the gag, but okay, even better, feces. Or when he finds the toe in his in the cuff of his pants.
Yeah.
Just weird, crazy. He's losing his teeth. I mean, not the toe, the teeth. Yeah. He's losing his teeth.
Yeah. Oh, that's 2 different episodes.
Love that.
That's 2 different episodes.
It is. Okay. So that's going to be a regret.
He got the teeth. The teeth fell out, but the toe.
Oh, because he beat old boy. Yeah, because he beat old boy.
Yeah. Yes.
Curb stomped Coco.
Yeah, curb stomped.
Which I think, Joe, you and I talked about this. That was, and we can talk about this later. I think in terms of thinking about the wives and, this kind of, plausible deniability and, we don't know what our husbands do, but they absolutely know. Yeah. And I just felt, as much as I like Carmela and I love Carmela, I felt like that was a moment where she presses Meadow to tell her father. Well, Carmela knows what the end result is going to be. So
she
like
knows
twice,
full well.
There are like two scenarios. One with Vito, and one with Coco, where Absolutely. Carmela presses her daughter to tell something that she doesn't want to tell, and the end result is a man gets either badly hurt or killed. That murder only makes things more difficult for Tony.
For everyone. Exacerbates everything. No, I agree, and my. Well, we're going to get into my feelings about your girl.
Yeah, let's. All right. So
Carmela. No, wait, let me give you one more episode. Sorry,
okay,
Kaisha.
Sure.
I love the episode. I love the Kaisha episode, and I know it's not that. Yeah. I see your face. I see your face.
Okay.
Yeah.
The man drops a box set.
Yes.
This is why. So there's always these. So it's David Chase.
Yeah.
Politely racist comments throughout the episodes.
Yes.
As a college. Charcoal briquette. I mean, that's Titsum's shine. I get okay.
Smoke.
Smoke. All that. That's I that was pretty much whatever. But when she's dating, so when Meadow's dating, what's his name? Spencer. Noah. Sorry.
Noah.
When she's dating Noah, just the worst. I mean, if he's gonna be black, let him. No. He's a biracial kid from Beverly Hills.
Right.
Yeah.
Who goes to Columbia.
Jamal Ginsburg.
Yeah, give me a break. Jamal Ginsburg, give me a break, right? So I hated Noah. Like Noah was the worst. It's kind of like my mother. My mother would say about Jungle Fever. She's like, why does his interracial relationship have to be born of infidelity? Right? Why can't he meet? Why? So in other words, why is her interracial relationship with a biracial extremely privileged, uber liberal, biracial guy. I'm not questioning his blackness. I'm not questioning his blackness. Right. It's just every trope that Chase could think. So they were doing it. They wrote that right because that guy exists. Okay, in the world. But every trope that they think they could find was there. But sorry.
Okay. No,
so I've gone way afar from where I was trying to say that. Where I was trying to go with this. Kaisha, back to black. I just loved that he just said Kaisha. Kaisha never exists. We don't know who Kaisha is or
Kaisha
she never exists.
She doesn't exist.
Yeah, Kaisha is George Glass. She's George Glass.
Fine. It's just I'm sitting there like what what is this? But I love that episode.
Yeah.
I love the tension there with him and Tony.
So much tension. That episode is
foreshadowing.
Yeah,
right? It's foreshadowing. It's like
that episode
we're at a fever pitch here.
Can we talk about that? That is a clinic in foreshadowing, and not only foreshadowing, but in tension building, and take all the ice. Never happens. Like we're expecting just like a bloodletting. Like, can you remember? Like, if you can bring yourself back to that time when that episode came out, we're expecting a bloodbath. Like New York's gonna come and get them. Yeah, and nothing happens. Yeah. The worst thing that happens in that episode is was it Coco? No, it was whoever's head that got stuffed down the it wasn't Coco, it was Fat Dom Damiello. Yes, his head gets kicked down into a grate. Yeah. That's the most violence we get in that episode, which is just,
it's kind of crazy. You're expecting this payoff. Yeah. And if you recall though, and I can't remember if Kaisha was a penultimate episode. So if you remember, the penultimates would be where they were swinging for the fences. Like that was the end of a round. They're going crazy. Yeah. And then the finale would be a slow burn. Yeah. And then you gotta wait. You're waiting for a year or two. Yeah. For 10 more episodes, for 10 more hours. Yeah.
But was Whitecaps a slow burn? Or was Whitecaps?
No.
Whitecaps was a slow burn on the marriage. It was, and that was the season finale. Whitecaps was the season finale of 4. And that was a culmination, but it was emotional violence in that episode. Like a lot of emotional violence.
And the acting, I went back and the acting, it's like, okay, like this, fully inhabiting a role. And at that point, she's been doing it for years now. Just off the charts. But there's so many episodes like that.
They were those people at that point.
Off the charts. Yeah. The face, like you just look at their eyes, you look at their mouth, you look at the, like a lingering glance and a look back. It's just so. Yeah. They won. They both won the lead categories of Emmys that year for that episode. So I think that was the first acting. No, Edie Falco, and they won in 21 or 2001 as well. But that was just amazing acting. That was a great performance. What's that? Did I cut you off though, Joe? I'm sorry. I feel like I cut you off.
No. I was gonna say the racial stuff is always interesting to me. And there was one other thing when they were talking about college admissions. Yeah. And either Chase had a kid who was about to go off to school or something, but they were so wrong about the way Black people supposedly get into these schools. And I could, and in the late 90s, it was real, tense subject about that. But they couldn't be more wrong because the stats prove you otherwise. Prove otherwise. Yeah. But it was always when Dave was Catino's kid said, I'm Blacker than her. Of course she got in because of that. But it was how they really talk. And and I witnessed that with my siblings. It's how they they weren't supposed to go to Brown because they just weren't, because that was what was already wired in someone's head. And it's like, okay, well, why can't they? Like, who are you? Who are you to tell them that they can't do something? So that underlying thing, even though rarely did they come up into rarely where Black issues really, other than that contrived Diddy thing with Hesh. Season 1 with Bokeem and Hesh, when he was clear.
That's a great segue.
Go ahead, take it.
Least favorite episode. Least favorite episode.
I'm with you there. So
my least favorite episode of the entire run. I've come full circle on Bokeem. I love Bokeem now, in great part due to his turn in Fargo as Mike Milligan. And then later on in Queen and Slim, like he's a great actor. But Massive Genius, A Hit is a Hit, by far my least favorite episode of the whole run. I hate that episode. I watch it simply because like I have to. Yeah. But it is so far afield from the usual. Yeah. And so bad. Yeah. In terms of writing, in terms of, and even like listening to the Sopranos podcast, Talking Sopranos podcast with Michael Imperioli and Steve Sherpa, which is a wealth of information. It has exceeded my expectations for what I thought they were going to bring. But you can tell they hated that episode. Yeah. It really, it just really is the worst. Christian, do you have a least favorite episode at all?
So I hate that episode. But when I was thinking about least favorite, I just went like the one that I was most like emotionally pained watching. And for me, that was Blue Comet. That was that episode. Because my two of my favorite characters, Bobby and Seal, both are hit. And I was just like, are you serious? We've been with this show for all these years, and you're just gonna let New York run roughshod, and like this is how it's gonna end?
They had more guns, man. They had more buttons.
Yeah.
They did. I mean, they were, that crew. We started seeing faces we didn't recognize, or we started seeing other people. I mean, but to your point, Walden was the guy in the end that takes care of it. Like, who the hell is Walden? You know what I mean? Like
Casoto.
Walden Casoto. Like we said, Bobby Dare Walden down at Casoto, right? So, but the point being, like, Walden's the one who gets Phil.
Yeah.
It's not Paulie. It's not Sil. It's not Furio. It's not Bobby, who's the best marksman among them all. It's like this other guy. And let's be honest, they didn't have like 100 men on the street. This was not. New York is New York.
Yeah.
And so they just didn't have the organization.
Yeah.
And they I don't know if they weren't recruiting right, or I don't know what he was not doing, but Benny had moved way up.
Yeah.
And there's no menace. I'm not afraid of that guy. I'm talking about like some guys on the street. I'm with you. That was a pain. That is such an emotional thing. And the way he died after it was called off.
Yeah.
The way he died, and when they got Sil, I'm like, well, that's that.
Yeah.
But we don't know if Sil made it. We don't know.
We don't know because Tony woke up, so maybe Sil woke up. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna. So my least favorite. Well, I had it written down. Golly, Joe. I was so smooth with it. Okay, my least favorite episode was in Camelot.
Oh yeah, that's
talk about
number 2. Yeah,
talk about it.
I just didn't understand where they were going. I know Tony's fascinated with his father. He is absolutely fascinated with his father, and I understand. I get it. No, he loves Johnny Boy. I get it. He's fascinated, and he hates his mother, but he loves his mother.
Yeah.
And I think even in that period when he was there with the woman, I didn't know if there was going to eventually be, with Tony, I didn't know if there was going to be some kind of amorous connection.
You never know. You never know.
No, you don't.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know. I didn't know.
What's next?
It was always a little. It was there.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know where we were going. He gave her some money. It was cool. But I thought to myself, eventually you're going to realize that this woman, that your father's decisions and relationship with this woman led to stress in your life.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons you've gone to see Melfi for the last 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And so it really hurt your mother, who didn't ask for this, who didn't ask for that part.
Yeah.
And I was just like, did we need another reinforcement of that? Like, I thought at that point in it, we just didn't need another reinforcement. The Kennedy thing,
she sings the happy birthday song.
It's so excruciating.
Every time that's the one I skip. That's the one I skip.
His face is like,
I can't even.
Yeah, he does. It's not appealing to him, right? And no. he's a huge coos hound. So for him to turn it down, that should tell you. And he doesn't. I mean, turn much down. So it's. I just don't. I can't stand that episode. I don't know where we were going with that episode. Yeah,
with that arc, and that arc is really the driving force of that episode.
I think the only real good thing we got about that is the beginning of his rivalry with Phil. Where the Shah of Iran stuff and getting that money from him. I thought that was that was the one good payoff from the episode.
You know the one scene I like. I know how Christian feels about Phil, and we're gonna get to that. The one scene I loved with him and Phil was when they were at the feast. And he was eating. The feast was saying, and he was eating the Zeppeli and they were like, you want to make like they were at that point just a couple of hustlers talking to each other. They putting the hatred away for a moment. Let's go get this money. And both made their move and did what they had to do. That was like a very brittle piece. That was made in that moment. I was like, man, maybe they could build on that.
Yeah.
But of course, they weren't going to. But I always appreciated that scene when they could look at each other like, we can go make this money. He said, well, that's a little late to call John tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's leave him out of that.
Let's leave him out of that.
Yeah.
We're gonna make this money ourselves. Yeah. Without a cut. Yeah. So just want to say that. But
yeah. And that's in another really bad episode, by the way. The Ride. I'm not a big fan of The Ride. Just I mean, it's I don't know, episodes where they put Paula in a bad light. I'm not too big of a fan.
I know you love Polly so much.
I love Polly so much, man.
I know you do.
Polly dropped
He's on your shirt.
Polly dropped the ball. Polly dropped the ball a lot on that episode, and he did make up with his mom, his aunt mom.
Yeah. That was tough. That whole it was so tough. I'm glad that they made up, but that was that was tough.
That was painful.
It was.
That was a. Oh my gosh, that was a painful episode.
And he caught her like getting off the bus, and that was.
Yeah.
Paulie, I was a bad.
I thought she was gonna pass. I thought she was gonna like. Who was you a bad? Come on, maybe you need to talk to him.
All right.
I was a bad girl. I was like, oh my god, what is she gonna tell him? But
that was.
There was ever a time that I was thrown for a loop. I was like, what in the world? What did she say? And then I was like, okay, well that later I watched Downton. That happened in Downton. It's not a crazy story, but I just didn't see that one coming.
One more bad episode I want to mention before we jump into characters is Chasing It, which was in part 2, season 6, part 2.
Okay.
Where Vito Jr.
Season 7. Season 7.
Yes, season 7. Yes, thank you. Season 7. Yes, that's we did say that. In season 7, Chasing It has the scene where Vito's son is dressing up real goth and tearing up cemeteries and poops in the shower and then steps in his own poop.
Yeah, that was nuts.
It was a bit much for me.
Yeah.
I wonder, where did Chase get this idea? Like, there are so many reactions. I just wonder where he was getting that stuff. Like. Right.
Well, Chris didn't do that when Dickie Mostly Santi died. Chris wasn't,
They're different people.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. But I just wonder, like, what Chase was looking to do there. And you know what? I just want to say this real quick. It's so obvious that Vito's wife, and I can't think of her name right now, and Lorraine Bracco are sisters.
Are sisters, right? Yeah.
I mean, they look.
They look so much alike. Yeah,
they had the same
so
voice.
Much alike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I looked it up, I was like, are they related? Are they? Yeah. Oh my gosh, they are sisters. Okay, wow. Yeah. But and then she has him carried off in the night and
what was that group? That was a thing back then where like they would have these
I'm aware of. That I'm aware of. But the reaction to maybe he read something once that's a kid's reaction to
Phil's conversation with them. No kind of bedside man.
Yeah, man, come on. He was the worst. What did he say? He looked like a Puerto Rican whore. Like, it was just awful, man.
Yeah. And I come here to like, what did he? I'm to buy you a smoothie or not a smoothie.
A silo.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just,
it was short and sweet. It was short and sweet.
Yeah.
No, Christian hates Phil. He hates Phil.
Well, okay. So, favorite characters. Christian, who's your favorite?
I think I'm gonna say 3 people. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Tony, because I mean it is his show, and I came back, and even when he was dead wrong, and when he was when a little kindness and a little compassion, I think Joe and you and I talked about this, when that would have gone so far, and he just was never in him to do it, never in him just to listen, be compassionate, or and that created so many problems for him.
Yeah.
And when I was angry with him, certainly in the rewatching, still I wanted him to succeed. So I'm gonna say Tony. Okay. And then my other 2 are Bobby and Seal. I just think Bobby and Seal are just, they were exactly who they said they were. You have Seal, where he takes out, I don't know, I forget the guy's name, but where he takes out the guy at the start of
Bert Jefferson. What's his face's brother? Yeah,
and he says that that he was kind of playing both sides with. He thought that he could
But he got his answer.
He got his answer exactly. Such a great line. Seal was loyal to the end, and Seal's advice was always to for the good of Tony, for the good of the family. It was never kind of any underhandedness. And Bobby was just a good guy as well. Just, exactly who he seemed to be. So
I like Bobby's arc, especially like going from like Junior's driver to like, a trusted advisor for Tony. And
number
like,
three, like a number three.
Yeah.
Number three.
And he was
number 4, 3 or 4. Yeah.
Like you could tell by the end, like he was a nice jovial guy in the beginning when he was married to Karen and everything like that. But by the end, I think somebody made some joke, like somebody tried to give him money without an envelope. He's like, "Where's the envelope?" Like he just was cold-hearted by the end. Yeah.
And his son, the son of one of the great killers. The son of like one of the coldest killers ever. And he was this sweet guy, kind of forced into this life. And then later he, the genetics took.
Do you guys know what? Do you know what bacala is? We taught the world how to eat. Awesome. So
I was gonna say this episode, season 2. I'm sorry, season 2. When they're in Starbucks, it says, "Look at this! Look at this shit!" How do we not get in front of this? How do Italians how do get in front of this when he's in Starbucks? When Polly's mad, he steals a little thing. He's got He steals a little coffee pot. Okay, so my favorite characters obviously are Tony. Tony's the light. He's the heart and soul. He's the heartbeat. He's everything. And for all the reasons Christian mentioned, look, man, even when we know he's wrong, I mean, we still find some redeeming thing. And even the smallest, Tony knows Wagnall. And even though he's a semester and a half at Seton Hall.
So I understand Freud.
Some of those guys.
I understand Freud.
And therapy as a concept.
Some of those guys are 7 feet tall out there, man.
So, he's smarter than one could ever imagine. This is what he was built. He was born and bred to do. And we see why. And because of that, he's a favorite of mine. So I think that in general, also there because in addition to that, another one of my favorite characters though is Paulie. I love him, and I love Paul. I know I'm gonna pull back on why because I know that's your man's.
Okay.
But from the beginning, and since you mentioned the pilot earlier, Christian, you mentioned Syl. Syl was working for Junior in the pilot. And he was really basically Mikey Palmise in the pilot. He was working for Junior. And then they switched it up, in the next episode. But anyway, back to I just thought about Paulie real quick.
Can I ask one question to that? In the pilot, does Jackie Aprile, does he exist, or do they just like introduce him in the second episode? Because I feel like in the first episode, Tony feels like he's the boss, but then in episode 2, Jackie Aprile is the acting boss.
I think he was introduced.
Episode 2 is 46 long, is it not? Is it
not?
Not?
Yeah, that's 46.
Yeah, so that was the one. So 46 long. So I did this hop, skip, and a jump through the 6 seasons, 7 seasons, and 46 long was the one I watched for season 1.
Okay.
And I think that's when Jackie was, and he was given to us, sick and
right.
On, and they put the heavy makeup on him, and he was the ruling and all that. Yeah. But anyway, I was gonna say, so Paulie, I just love everything about Paul, from the tanning. I just love Paulie. Paulie's just he's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
He doesn't really grow much.
No.
Throughout. He's like Carrie on Sex and the City. He's like Carrie Bradshaw. Every other character grows, right?
Yeah.
Every other character
grows.
Really
doesn't.
But Carrie does not. He's exactly the same, just as insecure, just as human, just as loving as he is vengeful. At the same time. And if he gives you that mug, there's going to be some pain on the other end of that. So love him for that. Obviously reasons not to love him, but love him for that. And my last one was I love Johnny Sack. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah. Tell us why. Yeah.
I love Johnny Sack.
You got a lot of Johnny Sack in you, actually. So
thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. But I love Johnny Sack because people come to him with problems all the time. Okay. Yeah. He represents an entire, the most notorious crime to us most notorious crime family in the country.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. He's the head of the family. I mean, he's John Gotti. Yeah. And he's moved to New Jersey.
But he's not gonna stick his beak in.
Nope. But he's always around.
Yeah.
But he's always around. I mean, and the fact that he knows everybody, it begs you for a prequel, right? And we're gonna get it. Thank gosh, it's very soon. We're gonna get it.
Really?
Oh yes.
The Many Saints of Newark.
The Many Saints of Newark. Yeah. It's coming, baby. It's coming.
I'm ready for it.
I hope there's a Johnny Sack something there.
I hope so, because I want to see. Because Johnny Sack is a great character.
So his son, Jim's son is playing Tony. Tony.
So it's gonna be like down Nick era, like the
68, 69,
69 Tony.
Nice.
Tony. So the Newark riots.
Yeah. Dickie
Moltisanti. How did they rise? How did they rise to power?
Okay.
But I love Johnny Sack because he's in command, in control, decisive.
Yeah.
And his decisions seem to always. He's much like Vito Andolini, Corleone. He's using reason.
Yeah.
And I think in his decisions. And so, and he's trying to tell you non-thinking, non-listening ass what to do and how to get through something.
Yeah.
If you listen to him, great. If you don't, we see what happens to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love Johnny Sack throughout. Yeah. I just love him. And I love the way he answers the phone.
Yeah.
As well.
Speak.
Yeah.
Right. So
what is this stuff fucking you in?
And he's always
that's a great line. That's a great line.
You know my favorite line though, in the whole,
what is that?
My favorite racial line.
What is that?
Which is tough to beat, dear. We Ralph Bunch over here.
Hey. All right. So yes. When we come back to favorite quotes,
when Patsy says, "Are you Ralph Bunch over here?"
That was great. That was so great.
Do you know how educated you have to be?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm crying right now thinking about it. You know how educated you have to be.
Such a good line.
To know who Ralph Bunch was.
Yeah.
I'm literally crying because I think JC will say it all the time. That whenever we'll sit there in the racial stuff, because they're zingers.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they are. It's like a Catskills comedian in '63. You know, at the same place from Dirty Dancing. You know, they're throwing the racial fastballs here. It's it's Sammy and Jerry Lewis. But you know, the Ralph Bunch line, I thought it was great. But those are my faves.
Okay.
And with an honor, I have one last honorable mention. I mean, you love Syl. You love Syl because he's the best consigliere. He's the best consigliere since Tom Hagen. Yeah. No question. He's the best consigliere since Tom Hagen on film, on television. Period. Point blank.
Didn't quite rise to the occasion when it was his time, but you know.
Well, it's tough. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
But he always
heavy inhaler.
But he was everybody has something, man. But he was able to look him in his eye and tell him what needed to be said. So
all due respect.
All due respect. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So mine. I'm not going to even go into Polly. I think we've exhausted the Pollyisms. Polly was who he was. You know, he looked out for number one always.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely was in it for himself first, foremost, and above everything else. You know, he had the most horrible moment in the show, in my opinion, when he smothered his mom's friend, Mim Matron.
That was terrible.
Yeah,
that was scary.
It was very.
Remember
scary.
Her eyes.
Yeah. I know you. I know why you're here.
Yeah.
Just, you know. So Polly is what he is. But
we need to do this. Wrap that up. Wrap
that up. those Parker House rolls, those belong to my ma.
Yeah.
You know, mother's boy, like a complete mama's boy.
Yeah.
But still so lovable, and it was, you could tell it was so much of Tony Sirico. That was just him. He made demands. Like he told them he wasn't going to say certain lines. He wasn't going to do certain things. He didn't want to ever be portrayed as a rat. Like, you know, and he's very authentic. He was definitely that character.
I want to say this real quick because he was definitely in the life, and he's a Scorsese alum.
Yeah,
was in countless Scorsese films.
Yeah, he put the guy's head in the oven. Yeah, that guy.
In the oven. Mother's letter comes here. He's in the oven, right? So my brother did a TV show with him, with Kenny Mayne for ESPN. They did a segment, and Jordan spent like 4 hours with Sirico, just sitting.
Oh wow!
Just sitting in Brooklyn, right? Nice. And they were talking, and he's talking about life, and so they had Chinese food, and he said, yeah. He said, Italians love Chinese food. He said, really? He said, and so Rico said something like, yeah, because, you got we live where we live, the blacks, you live where you live, and in between, it's the Chinese. Okay, we got the Chinese. And the Chinese food, he said the Chinese food, he said the Puerto Ricans over there, but the Chinese food, it's a common denominator.
Oh, yeah.
And I was when Jordan told me the story, I was hoping he messed it up. He said, because we both like the noodles. We like the noodles. He said Italians like noodles, blacks like macaroni and cheese. You like noodles. It's the noodles. It's noodles. That's all it is.
That's great.
And Jordan said he fell out of his chair laughing because it's freaking Polly Walnuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was like 2008, 2009.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's just 2 years off the show. But to your point, that's who he was.
Yeah.
And I love that he got to, now he's able to cash in on that for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah.
And beyond.
Yeah.
Remind me when we get the quotes to talk about Chinese food real quick, because that's one of my favorite quotes also.
Okay.
But yeah, so for me, beyond Polly, Uncle June is my guy. Uncle June, you talk about some of the great lines and some of the great
lines,
moments, and
great lines.
Like shit in your head.
He's a fucking hothouse flower.
Right. He never had the makings of a varsity athlete. Right? Oh. It's undermining, and that's the thing I'm teaching my kids not to do.
JC tells me that. JC says that to me once a week. You never had the makings of a varsity athlete. He knows I was like a 9-time varsity athlete. But he says that to me every.
He's like, I lettered, and he's like, well, you didn't play at Seton Hall. And some of those guys are 7 feet tall out there. It was just fantastic. Uncle June, the things that got us here: cunnilingus and psychiatry. Uncle June had a love for doing that. I'm not mad at Uncle June. You do what you do to please who you want to please. So there's that. His devotion to anything Kennedy, Dr. Kennedy. And Imperial.
Why is that so weird?
It was definitely weird. It was.
It wasn't the New York. It wasn't the Jersey outfit that killed Jack. But still, he was. Yeah, that was his doctor.
Yeah,
was Dr. Kennedy.
His name was Kennedy. his love for Angie Dickinson,
because that was one of Jack's girlfriends,
right? But when he goes under for surgery and it has the dream, he's like kills his nephew and marries Angie Dickinson. Like it's just I love everything about Uncle June. Uncle June was he had a slick mouth. He was definitely, even when he was losing his mind, having dementia in the nursing home, he managed to just get it underling with the young Asian kid.
I love that.
Yeah, Uncle June was fantastic, a great character, and in his time you could tell he was about that action. He's like, next time you come in here, come heavy. Uncle June was the man. Carmela,
I show you my hand,
and you.
I'm sorry. I couldn't, because he does his hand so oddly. When he did, I show you my hand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Carmela, and I know, but. Carmela
that was probably the best one right there, Christian. That picture back there right now.
Oh yeah,
that's the best one.
Yeah, that's season 5. That's oh man. Carmela Soprano, who I know, Joe. We'll circle back to her, but
no problem.
Such a strong female character at a time when there were not strong characters that could lead a series. Like she had her own thing. Her stuff with Father Phil and how she could read him. She read
Father Phil.
She read him for who he was. She knew who she was principled. She knew what she got into. She knew she didn't want to be with the guy that was gonna sell the stuff on the roadside. She knew what she was getting into with Tony. Yeah. And even when she was having regrets about it, she still managed to do things on her own terms. She had wherewithal and a good relationship with her kids, or as best as she could. I love everything about Carmela up to a point, and then I don't like some of those things. And then Chris Moltisanti, just generally his love of film, and even though he really didn't know a whole lot, and wasn't really very literate, was still,
No.
you know, he
No, it was not very literate. No.
still, you know, I managed to get the drop on him. He still had like, you know, he had an understanding for film and was like just kind of like the avatar for young people into the world of the mafia. Like his love of Tony, wanting to you know, admire Tony, but also like kind of hating Tony too.
Yeah.
Just was his character was really fleshed out. His addiction issues.
Yeah.
I thought that was portrayed very, very, very realistically. You know, how he chips and gets back into, you know, using, and just that overall battle he has to fight with it. And, you know, eventually I think he was managing it really well until he wasn't. But just, I thought that portrayal was really good. A couple of honorable mentions for me. I've already mentioned Richie Aprile. I really like Richie Aprile was so menacing. There's a moment where Tony's like, "Don't give me those Manson lamps," and that was a perfect way to describe his eyes. Like Richie Aprile was like, he had a death stare. He looked like the deadlights in it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So Richie and then and my man Ralphie Separato, some of the best one-liners that I'm gonna come back to.
I like Ralphie.
Yeah.
Like
Anybody else you guys want to mention as great characters before we let Joe talk about Carmela for a little while?
I mean, you know, which was, I went back, you know, just kind of thinking about how they had to add Livia in, you know, after she had passed away.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that acting, I mean, she was a great actress, and that, I mean,
she was
certainly, you know, when I was watching that show, that was not how I thought how mothers, and I want to talk about the children because I want to talk about the children.
Sure.
But that was not how I thought about mothers or children. And but you know, I mean,
before you do that, can I embarrass myself real quick and say that I was yesterday years old when I discovered that Nancy Marchand was that was the mayor from Naked Gun. I had no idea. I had no idea that Tony Soprano's mom was the mayor of LA. And
she was definitely a famous, you know, a well-known character actress, and
she had a lot of good lines.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Constantly.
Yeah,
These blacks.
Poor you.
These blacks. That's my. I'm sorry. I love when she said that. I don't know why. I don't.
Yeah,
I love when she said
no
that.
smoking ganja in the house. Hey, but Christian, talk about the kid.
Or AJ. Oh, I know why.
I know why.
Right. Yeah, I know why.
Talk about the kids. So, do you love the kids? Or
that's why I put the kids up here for you.
Those kids stressed me out. I did that. I think that Carmela, because again, this goes back to me, you know, that I love Carmela. They from the very beginning, they wore her out. Yeah. I mean, and Junior, I mean, come on. I mean, everything's an excuse. Yeah. He never did anything wrong. Everything's a lie. I was studying, whatever. I mean, come on. I mean, and then he was depressed. Well, you know, depression is real, obviously. But
they were the first ones to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and they addressed it realistically.
But he wasn't depressed at the beginning.
No, he wasn't.
No, he knew how to play that.
He was just a privileged, spoiled kid. He was exactly what that teacher. Remember when she was having the affair with was the principal?
It was his guidance counselor, Mr. Wegler.
The guidance counselor.
Yeah. David
Strathairn. And then Mr. Wegler like leans on the teacher. And but the teacher said about him is exactly right. He's just a privileged kid.
Fredo.
Like, you mean you lean on me to Fredo Kelly on it? Yeah. The world needs ditch diggers too. Yeah.
I mean, cool. Meadow, I mean, you know, yes, she was better in school and she was going to go to law school and whatever else, but she just gave her mother so much grief.
Oh, she was awful in those early seasons.
Awful. I mean, I'm breaking into her room and then she's mad because she can't go to Aspen and just like.
But he locked it. AJ did lock her out.
AJ did lock her out.
That was
and then you hear him say yes when the mom says, grounded. No, you're not grounded. You're not going to Aspen with Heather Scangarello. That's what you're not doing. Yeah. He's like, yes.
Yeah.
So no, those kids. And I was like, can the kids be your least favorite characters? I didn't like them. I didn't like either one of them. I wouldn't want to be friends with them. I wouldn't want to hang out with them.
Oh, Christian, there's a moment in season 5 when you know, Meadow was relatively okay by season 5. Yeah. But there's an episode where she and Finn get into this long knockdown drag out argument all night. And I'm so triggered by that. When I watched that episode, I think back to my married days and like it was awful. It was really like just
that scene is triggering.
When the air conditioning is broken.
Yeah. And Finn's talking about taking a job from a black person, and I wouldn't want to take a job from somebody.
That's that Ivy League. That's that Ivy League.
Man. Like,
but get you a job.
Meadow was absolutely freaking. She was a complete shrew in that episode. She was just like, so you packed up, you were going to leave, and
I'm processing.
And she's like, are you really falling asleep? And like, I've been there where I've been falling asleep in the middle of an argument. Like, yeah, I am falling asleep because I don't feel like arguing.
I want to say this. So this is hilarious to me because that you brought that scene up because I love Meadow. Yeah. So Meadow was while we were listening to all those things in the Tiger office at the rise of Maxim magazine. Jamie Lynn
Sigler, niece,
Scala, Scala, whatever, all the names. Jamie Lynn was definitely, if there was a pinup girl in the Tiger office that was not black, it was definitely Jamie Lynn. And when she said she liked her men dark, we knew she didn't mean brothers, but it was enough. You know what I'm saying? So
when she lost her virginity to a black dude.
Yes. to Noah, right. The character Meadow Soprano did.
Sure.
Yes. It wasn't Connie Corleone.
And Turtle's kind of black.
Well, the blackest thing on Entourage, without question. But nonetheless, and loves black shows, but nonetheless, we loved her. So it's so difficult for me to like have an objective dislike of Meadow. But if you go back and watch that scene right there, where she picks the fight, and then antagonizes, and I'm granted, I'm saying this from a man's point of view, but literally picks the fight and antagonizes. I'm gonna stand by it. Antagonizes Finn to the point where they're having this, and it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
It's getting hotter and hotter there. I remember one night in 2001, I was in New York at the home of the great George Wells, Daryl Smith, and Ronald Cachet Falls, and I was sleeping on a couch that was leather, and I'm stuck to this couch because the air conditionings are in George's room, Cash's room, and Daryl's room, right? And there's like a fan, like an old fan from like FDR's fan. It's like keep cooling me off. All right. And I'm stuck there and I'm thinking I'm from Texas and I've never been this hot. I was like, I've never been as hot as I am right now. That pre-war New York living, that pre-war building where it's that hot and you don't want to move, you don't want to breathe, you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And then to have that real life discussion at that moment, I thought to myself, if there's a time to hate Meadow, it's now. Then she was being bratty because everything you do to me, and I'm saying this, raising a very independent person, young woman. Mm-hmm. You never want to do anything to stifle it. And they weren't trying to, they wanted Meadow to be a strong, confident woman. And she showed her confidence. She showed her strength over and over and over again. And yet then she'd remind you quickly that she was given everything.
Italian American princess.
I mean, she is. I mean, she's Connie Corleone. I mean, I don't know if there's another or whatever the Gotti daughter that was that had the show. I mean, I'm sure there's some parallels there. So, but she's not my least favorite. Okay. But I got nothing but love for Meadow.
I know.
There are redeeming things about Meadow. I don't think there's anything redeeming about AJ. Is there?
AJ is literally the worst.
AJ is the worst. Yeah, I agree. Chris, do you have anybody else that you hate before we unleash the Joe?
Oh, Phil Leotardo. I hate Phil.
Okay, I'm waiting for this.
Leotardo.
Wait for that. Go.
So I feel like Phil tried to, I don't know if this was like an internal conflict because he comes back and he's like, I'm gonna, when he has a heart attack and he says, I'm going, I'm retired or I'm gonna enjoy my grandkids. And then almost within like another episode, he's like on the warpath.
Yeah. Well, he compromised. He was tired of compromising.
Yeah, tired of compromising.
No more grilled cheeses on the radiator.
Right.
No more jerking off into a towel.
Right.
No more.
Where earlier he said that he wasn't, that he wouldn't kill a boss, he wouldn't take out a boss. Then he does it to his own family.
Wasn't that a crazy scene?
It seems crazy.
It was
crazy.
It was.
And I think most of all, I think his rabid hatred of Vito. That was insane. And the way that they killed Vito was, just awful. Yeah. And then you did it as like a like an honor killing because he had brought shame to the family. But then to totally disregard your cousin, who if this is your family,
talk about it. Talk about it, man.
This is your family. How do you just leave her? You just abandon her.
Yeah.
And you kill her husband.
Yeah.
And you abandon the children.
Yeah.
So I think, Phil, I was not sad to see him. It was crazy that he got killed in front of his wife and the grandkids, but I was not sad to see him.
And killed. I mean, he's dead.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's crushed skull.
He's crushed skull. I mean, that was really the great. I needed to see that. I needed that pound of flesh. That was a great a death.
Yeah.
That was a good death.
That Vito death scene I want to talk about real quick because
I'm gonna come back to
so much symbolism there. Like with Phil coming out of the closet, and then like him watching the scene go down and like just grabbing the sheets and like he's almost turned on by it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was very like, I mean, the homophobia in that scene and just in that storyline in general, was so visceral and so I thought that I don't think they handled the homosexuality storyline well.
No. I mean, they celebrated it. Yeah. Once he was killed, I mean, they celebrated it.
But I thought that they did have a good grip on what homophobia looks like in all of the different ways that people have homophobia. Like, people that are like, I mean, because to an extent, Phil acted very closeted at times. Like, it was almost like he was just like, like he was wrestling with issues. And that's why, and gave into a lot of his wife's pressures. About it.
This is another situation. This is another.
Goes back to what you were saying, Christian. It goes back to what you were saying.
You know who you're married to. You're married to a cold-blooded murderer.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You are talking about that he has to repent or he has to. Why are you? And like Phil's on the bed, like trying to let it go. Like, you're right. And she's like going in. It's like, like what you're doing. You are assigning a man to be murdered.
Yeah. He was an awful person. The Shah of Iran, he did have one of my favorite lines where he goes to Chris's mom's house and she's like, he's at Alcoholics Anonymous. Who are you guys with? We're with Alcoholics Anonymous. He's like, well, who are you? Like, well, we're anonymous.
We're anonymous. That was a great line. A great line.
But yeah, that was it for him.
I want to say that as well about the thing. There's those moments, those brief moments, like when Adriana is dreaming that she got in the car and drove away.
Yeah.
There's those moments in the that was a dream.
Yeah.
Where obviously where she looks at, she dreams like she got away, or when the reverse of that is when Chris looks over and sees that guy with the 3-4 kids.
Yeah, not me.
And the acid wash like,
that ain't my life.
That ain't gonna be us. Right. But those are all those little moments when you're like, okay, this could be all right. A little Carmine being down the floor, like living his life, doing his thing. But Vito going to New Hampshire, Vito finding happiness, Vito finding the beginnings of love, Vito finding acceptance for the first time in his life for who he is. Now, even though he's lying about who he is, but in many respects, but finding out all these things. And we know that in the end, it's not going to last. Like no matter what, you can't come home.
Yeah.
This show has taught us that.
Yeah.
And when you do come home, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
And so it's probably one of the saddest. To me, it's the saddest storyline to me. Other than Bobby dying, but Bobby dying was not a storyline. So that was probably one of the saddest storylines because Vito finds acceptance. I mean, for someone who's overweight, who feels invisible or too visible, and to go through what the actor went through in all those iterations of who he was, because he started as someone else
he played just a bakery shop a
guy in a bakery shop, and then they just had to have him around, obviously had the face or whatever, and then the Suizadel,
to make it up the ranks the
Suizadel, to make up the rank, the Suizadel, right? So to make up the ranks, and then for it to be that way, it was one of the more brutal things, and I don't recall anything as brutal. I mean, fortunately, Phil's comeuppance was very brutal. Thank God. But he deserved that and then some. And no open casket, by the way, because they crushed his skull.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's a little bit of Goodfellas in there for you, Chris.
Thank you.
But yeah, I Phil is a detestable, human being. But I'm gonna go into Carmela unless you had something to say.
Well, I was just gonna say that one of the more poignant Silvio lines was when, he was like, Tony was like, well, why couldn't he just live that lifestyle, quietly? And Sil was like, but he was, wasn't he? Like, he was. He was. He was.
He made a mistake to go to that club. He was sad after the wedding and made the mistake to go out to the club. And then, which also, I mean, nobody keeps any secrets. I mean, nobody keeps.
There's no Omerta.
Oh, they couldn't wait to come in there, man. Murmur, couldn't wait to come in and spill the tea. You know what I mean? Like,
and a lot of it's because of jealousy.
Yeah, sure.
Vito is the
biggest moneymaker.
Yeah, he's the biggest earner.
Yeah.
At the Esplanade, Esplanade thing. He's cool with New York.
And God forbid he had some ambition, because he had ambition. He wanted more.
Yeah, he wanted to be boss. He thought he could be boss.
Yeah,
he kept
saying probably would have been a good boss. I mean, to be honest with you,
I kept saying it because he's about that Skrilla boss. He's about that money boss.
Yeah.
So anything to pull each other, down. It was evident. But I brought this up.
Joe. We've come to the point. We come to the point of the show. Talk about it, Joe.
I was dreaming and in love with Fury. In my house, where my children sleep, where my children play, where my wife sleeps, my children play. You gonna tell me this? And the best part of my day was a little time.
Yeah.
I would jump out of my chest.
Yeah.
Would jump out of my chest every time. Right.
And just for that moment, I felt like I wasn't dying.
Yeah.
Talk about
I'm sympathetic to the fact that no, Carmela, you didn't ask for your husband to be an infidel. You did not.
Yeah.
But you did marry someone you knew was a killer.
Yeah.
You did marry someone that you knew was a gangster.
Yeah.
From a family of gangsters.
Yeah.
And
you celebrate the fruits of it.
Yes. You're wearing it. Yeah. You're driving it.
Yeah.
You've raised your children in it.
Yeah.
Ensconced in that, cloaked in that.
Yeah.
And to be shocked. There's gambling here. Like in Casablanca. I can't think of a man's name. In Casablanca, there's some shots. Here's your winning, sir. I'm shocked.
All right.
One of the best jokes ever in a movie, by the way. For that to be the case, over and over and over again, this moral thing that comes up over and over again.
Yeah, it
gets old. It gnaws on me and it wears me down. And I'm thinking, you are complicit. You are just in Goodfellas, you're on those tapes, Karen. Yeah. When he says that to Melfi, to Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
Karen Hill. Thank you. Yeah, to Lorraine Bracco. He's the prosecutor is saying you're on these tapes. You know where the guns are. Yeah. When the thing went out, she jumped. She got the AK, the assault rifle.
Yeah. No,
she knew she was part of the deal.
Yeah.
And even when she's like, "Oh, we're gonna do this again," this. What do you think this is?
Yeah. Don't make me accessory. Don't make me
accessory
after all these years.
After all this, right? So I that the self-righteous stuff on that level, it gnaws on me. Now, should she put up with Tony's infidelity? No.
Yeah.
Should she put up with any number of other things? No. When she hid Meadows' acceptance to Stanford or Cal or wherever it was, or not acceptance, the letter that told her she needed something else and then dirtied it up, and Meadows figured it out right away.
Yeah.
And she acted later. Just throw it away. You do better just to throw it away than to be that devious with your kid because you gotta hold on to the child because you're afraid that maybe they're gonna learn something more than you learned. What do you think all this was for?
Yeah.
What do you think all this was for?
Yeah.
She got on my last nerve several times.
Sure.
Which means Edie Falco, God bless her, acted her ass off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is not about Edie Falco.
All right,
I want to be abundantly clear. Yes, Carmela Soprano.
Yeah.
So when I went to see The Color Purple, right before I went to see The Color Purple, I went to Dallas Barbecue with no, that was a different time. But I went to Dallas Barbecue before I saw Cat in the Hot Tin Roof. I was there with you, Christian.
Yes, yes. I had a mohawk then.
You did.
I had a mohawk then.
Wow. I have the photographs.
Nice.
But I went to Dallas Barbecue. Sorry. Another time I went to Dallas Barbecue. I was with Jeff Bennett and James Moore.
Okay.
And James Moore, and we drove, and then I took a cab to Broadway, see Color Purple. And at the end, when we're giving the ovations, no one wanted to clap for the guy who played Mr. And I'm clapping for him because I'm like, he acted the reason you didn't want to clap because he was acting.
Right.
He did a great job.
Right.
I think it's the same. I look at it the same way with Edie Falco though. I mean, she's her range was outstanding. She was technically her accent was great. Yeah. The way she wore the jewelry was great. Her hair was great. I believe her. Yeah. I believe that she is Carmela Soprano.
Absolutely.
And she sells it every single time. You know when Junior says it, Richie, he's like, he couldn't sell it. Carmela, Edie Falco sells Carmela to me. Yeah. And so much so that I can't stand Carmela. Okay. For any number of reasons. Yeah. Shrewish, wonder where Meadow gets the shrewish from. Shrewish in a sense, the shrillness at times, ensconced in it, and yet never happy with the freaking life that you leave. Yeah. I know it's not as simple as me saying it, but leave, and don't try to leave, freaking leave.
Yeah.
Okay. No, and even every time she tries to do a little something, she comes back because the money is there, and if as we watch, it only gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Her one visit to that psychiatrist was really telling.
Because he didn't hold anything back.
Yeah, he's like, you can never say
I won't take blood money.
Yeah,
I won't take blood money.
Yeah.
I won't take blood money.
You can never say you weren't told.
And Christian and Calvin, think about this. As you were saying about the complicit and knowing that you don't like in Godfather 3, maybe they should be afraid of you. When she's like, and then they will fear you. When she goes to Jeannie's sisters, to get the letter.
The letter for Georgetown.
For Georgetown.
With the regat pie.
With the regat pie. Oh, I forgot my mom's in the car. She pressed on her. Yeah. I mean, that was what I represent. Yeah. I know you're an attorney.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to tell you what to write, but you know what to write. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what to write. She knew that, and she knew when to use that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. An early sign of that in season 2, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. And then later David Strathairn, she says, Wegler, you better watch yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. All right, fine. Yeah, sure. Okay. What are you going to do?
It's like, I'm not worried about my life. It's not my life I'm worried about. Hey.
So I'm gonna leave Carmelo, but I agree with you on AJ. Christian, can't stand him.
Every scene, I'm just like, get him off my TV.
He's just no. The only thing that was good about him, I just couldn't. He didn't know what to do or why, and yet he was still given room.
He was so lost
and rode.
Yeah,
he was.
He was so lost.
He was, and obviously, later they just diagnosed it, right? So okay. And I think at the end, he was getting there. Yeah, I do. I think he was getting to a place of normalcy.
Man, he's Lil Carmine. He's Lil Carmine all over again.
Yeah, but the thing that I think about whenever I see. Or because I was at the Hershey Park with my family for a family reunion a few years ago, and they talk about the guy that started Hershey and goes into a town with no money and gets the loan. I'm just like, Black people, like, we could never do that. And you think about how our children, you can't be AJ.
Man,
I mean, just like do nothing and just do the worst again and again and again. And Tony's like, you're lucky that we had friends. Like when he goes in there with the knife to kill Junior, and it's just like. Again, like like
every time we watch Godfather, you always the scene. He's like, it's a movie, AJ.
It's a movie. You're breaking my heart, AJ.
Yeah, you're breaking my heart.
You gotta grow up.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned about the loan, man. I was watching. This is a spoiler for anybody that hadn't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so sorry. But the Falcon couldn't get a loan, man. You can tell me a Black person's gonna be able to get a loan to do something, man. They wouldn't give a loan to the Falcon. Come on, man, get out of here.
Crazy.
I watched Justice League last night, all 4 hours. In
I
2
like
minutes.
this one. I like this one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
That's a great background.
That's
Yeah,
a great one.
So this is the time period, Christian, for this and a little bit later.
Wait, so his dad will still be alive in this?
Yeah,
new
his
show?
dad will still be alive.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be an HBO Max movie. So,
but a movie, not a series.
Movie, not a series.
Okay.
So no, movie.
My least favorites. You guys already talked about AJ at length. I don't need to say much more about AJ. You know, and it's kind of the same vein as you with Carmela, Joe. Is me with Janice. And that Janice really gets on my nerves, but it's a credit to Aida Turturro and how well she played Janice.
Yeah.
Because Janice, like, again, that's such a well played, well built storyline with her.
Yeah.
But she's horrible. I really, I hate Janice so much.
Yeah. And that therapist she has is nothing but enabling.
Oh, and enabling. Oh my gosh, just completely enabling her. Like, and go give them that charm that we all know.
Yes.
Come
that
on.
you're famous for.
Yeah, that you're famous for.
And then she pushes him down the stairs. Get out! She pushes him down the stairs.
Just the worst, man. Just the worst.
So crazy.
And then for me, so here's where I can talk about my love-hate for Furio. Because Furio started out as such a great character, such a just wholehearted enforcer, comes into the spa and like shooting kneecaps and punching women, which is totally wrong, by the way. Shouldn't do that. But Furio was just cold-blooded, man. Just the greatest. Knocking people's caps off, making them step into the water. You got to be on your cap. It's just Furio was the toughest, roughest guy. Yeah. And then comes the episode at the end of season 3. Which one was it? Amorphu, which is one of my favorite episodes of the series. But when Jackie Jr. shoots up the card game, Jackie Jr. and Dino. And
talk about a mistake.
Yeah, and really what happened there was that they shot Furio's superpowers out. Because next thing you know, he's lying on the table in a Speedo getting made fun of because he's wearing a Speedo. And he slips on some ice with his cane.
Yeah.
And becomes a laughingstock and kind of a silly character for a moment. And then he's got this storyline where he's in love with Carmela out of nowhere in season 4. And, then, shrinks at the moment where he could have killed Tony. And bye Furio. No more Furio. Yeah. I just thought it was very in line with what happened to Jaleesa on A Different World, where they had this great character.
I love that comparison.
And they didn't know what to do with Furio.
Yeah.
So they throw him into the storyline where he has this love affair that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then he's gone, never to be seen again. And it's just a waste because Federico Castellani, I'm sure I messed his name up, but he was such a good actor. Like, he's like, you listen to him talk and he's got no Italian accent whatsoever. Like he's amazing though. He's amazing.
Yeah, he was in Maid. He was in he and I can't think of the guy's name.
Vince
Played
Puss. Yes. Big Pussy.
Big Pussy. Vinny Pastore. They were in Maid. They were in Maid because they just done the stuff with the show. Yeah, they just because they done the show with Sopranos was big at the time, so they're making a movie. But no, I want to say this about Furio too. That was an amazing breakdown of how he lost his superpowers, and I didn't think of it the very moment. And Christian, we mentioned it on our Different World episode how when they decided that Jaleesa and Walter weren't going to be that wasn't going to be the focus, they didn't know what in the world to do with Jaleesa for the next 3 seasons. Thank God she got her checks and was able to do all that.
Yeah. Hanging with Mr. on it.
Yeah, and kept going somewhere with that. But they didn't know what to do with Jaleesa after that. And I agree, Calvin. I don't think they knew what to do with Furio after that. And this guy was an enforcer. Like, I mean, he was the coldest in the world. And then he became very human. Yeah. And fell for the boss's wife. Like the one thing you don't
do. Which his uncle told him. Like I did a lot of things, but I never did that.
I did love the breaking of the fourth wall, though. You mentioned something else when you were talking about AJ. Said you love that scene in Godfather, and he said it's a movie. And I thought to myself that was David Chase's way of saying
Yeah, this stuff is
This is a
not
TV
real.
show. This stuff's not real.
Yeah.
This is a TV show.
Yeah.
So calm down.
Yeah.
Particularly around that time when fandom was becoming a thing, you know, when websites were becoming a
television
a thing
without
and
pity. All these websites, like you're right.
All these things were building. Like, we're not Star Wars.
Yeah,
we're not Star Wars.
Yeah.
Little does he know. Here we are talking about it 22 years after the debut.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that it had something to do with that too. But who else didn't you like? Oh, there it is. That's the one. That's the one, Christian.
Oh, yeah. When he's dancing.
That's the one.
Come on.
That's the one stuck in my brain.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in the we had a date to color tile. Like, come on, man.
And AJ said, and she took me over there all the time. And really, I had things that really messed up my day. What do you have to do, AJ?
Nothing.
What do you have to do?
Man.
Nothing.
What do you just
AJ.
Just
AJ.
A waste.
Yeah, he's a
waste.
He's a waste. Anthony Jeroboam.
Oh gosh, just a waste.
Yeah.
I want to say this though. You talked about Olivia for a moment. I want to say, while obviously, and she won the Emmy for best actress and best supporting actress. I can't remember which one it was, but that thing where they put her face on the other body scared the daylight.
So scary.
Yeah, that was very scary.
It was like, come on, guys.
Do either of you have the DVD set?
No.
I don't know.
Christian, you used to have some of those DVDs.
I used to, yeah. But so I have them, but they're in my mother's house. So I guess I have them. But they're
the first 2 seasons, if you put them, like I kind of have a little bit of ADHD, so if you put them in sometimes and just leave them and don't like go back and watch them, they have this opening scene where they show the faces, and when they show Olivia's face is frightening. Her face is just, I mean, it's just full of malice and evil and just everything that The Shining was made of. Like I feel like I'm in the Overlook Hotel when I see it. It's really bad.
When she's at Green Grove, just staring at the lady and not saying a word.
Oh yeah.
And it's not saying. Well, we didn't talk about Green Grove.
I'm so glad they went back to Green Grove with Polly's mom. Like that was Green Grove.
But that became that was the lick. That was the spot where everybody was.
It was good enough for your mom.
Right.
Can we talk about my man Jimmy Altieri real quick?
Yeah, talk about him.
I loved the way Jimmy carried his weight and all in the front, and didn't seem to mind who he was, what he was about. Just was a rat. Yeah. But something about Jimmy's gait, I really appreciate it. And I don't know why. Even when it was coming over, it's like that much too much cologne on. Yeah,
you smell like Paco Rabanne. Paco Rabanne up your ass and died.
So I don't get him like I used to. And then he shows him and he says, "My man," the way he said it that way, I was like, "You're about to go. It's about to be over."
Yeah.
And I hated, that's unfortunate. Jimmy just was funny to me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, why would they be cool? It was just funny to me. Yeah. And the fact that they all this was around their children and all this was, constantly there. And we know it's not all waste management. They know that. Yeah. And I want to say that as a segue to, at the time of the show, obviously it debuted in 99, shot 98. Those AOL websites, like that mafia website, that kind of stuff, it was very real.
Oh yeah.
And that first time as a child you realize there's this world out there where these people control all these other things, can be either like you don't care about it or it can be mesmerized. Okay. Yeah. And if you're mesmerized and then your dad, your uncle, everyone every adult male okay, is other than your grandfather, is wrapped up in this life, then it's got to be like even crazier for someone like AJ. And I'm not making an excuse for him, but I thought it was interesting how they work with the times to talk about, this was the life, and yet a version of it was also on the web, but then they were living the real versions of it every day. They're just kids going to school or doing whatever, or going on expensive trips and do all these other things because that's just their dad, and he makes money doing XYZ, according to them.
Growing up Sopranos.
But I always wondered how, and I just love your theories on this because no one ever talks about it. how does Tony buy that house on that block doing what they all do?
Vic the Appraiser or somebody set it up. Somebody.
Okay.
Vic the Appraiser.
I'm just the appraiser.
Yeah.
What a great. Hey, so that's actually a really good segue into, and I'm gonna combine these two just for the sake of time. Favorite moments and favorite quotes. We've already talked about the intervention, Chris's intervention.
Yeah.
Christian, what are some of your other favorite moments in the show?
Seal has a great quote at the very beginning where he says, "Sadness accrues," talking about Junior. I love that. I love sadness accrues.
Great quote. That is a great quote.
That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
And that could, I mean, it's a foreshadowing. I love the pilot. I love the pilot so much. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, we're off to the races. I think it's just like a great start to the whole series. So Sadness Accrues is my favorite one.
Okay. What about you, Joe?
I told you the Ralph Bunche line, and I know it has nothing. I know it has nothing to do. It's apropos of absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But the way Patsy said it, it always cracks me. I fall on the floor laughing about that.
Yeah.
And dude gets hurt or whatever. They start to fight, and then the brother tries to, get the police there, and then that's when they go to beating the brother up, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? So, but I just love that line. I know it's a little crazy. I love that line, and then, obviously the lines during the intervention. I mean, I've said that, but Paulie's line specifically during the intervention.
Yeah.
And then even though it was a lie, when Paulie says, "Hey, this is what we do," right? Well, actually, no, it's not a lie. They do that. They're not happy about it.
Yeah.
But that is what they do. And he said this when he said this is what we do, it kind of shows.
Sorry. Weather alert. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got bad weather tonight.
Keep going. Keep going. I got to turn the TV on. Keep going.
No, you good, man. You good. So my favorite moments. The first that I want to talk about is actually circling back to that Chinese food thing. So there's a meme that I thought was just a funny moment for me. But it's a meme on the internet where Tony gets the Chinese delivery, and they're like, "Did you check the Chinese delivery when it got there?" And he's like, the guy's like, "Yeah, it's good," And he opens it up. He's like, "Motherfucking cocksucking orange peel beef." That orange peel beef moment every time it gets me, man. I love it, and I didn't know it was a thing on the internet. It is a huge thing. Like if you Google that, and like that Instagram page you linked me on, Joe, the Time Immemorial. That's one of their favorite ones, man.
Christian, there are a zillion. There are
so many of them.
Sopranos Instagram pages. They're like members only. There's like if you look at one, just search for one.
It's a rabbit hole. You're
thousands.
You're done for a whole week. You're done for a whole
thousands will just pile up underneath. It's crazy. Same thing with The Office. Same thing with any of the show. Yeah.
Motherfucking cocksucking orange peel beef is my one.
That's season 7 too. That's a season 7 conversation.
Yeah.
You always know how to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell from Paulie's face. He got older.
Yeah.
Christian, you are winning. You are winning the background.
You are winning the background
competition.
Yeah, you are killing it.
Yes,
you are killing it.
I love it. I love this.
Another favorite moment quotes section for me is just Ralph Cifaretto in general. From his obsession with the Gladiator film.
Yes.
And he's like, when he's watching, he goes back and watches Spartacus. He's like, they didn't have barbers. Like he had a crew cut haircut. He's getting so upset about that. So there's that moment. There is a moment where he's angry about how indignant Johnny Sack is. And he's like, who the hell does he think he is? Sir Walter Raleigh? Like, I love that moment. But the pinnacle Ralphie moment for me was when he calls up, and this is on the episode where he dies. But he calls up, he's like, I knew it was Paulie who told the joke to Johnny Sack. And so he calls up Paulie's mom at Green Grove. And he's like, this is Detective Mike Cutt from Beavers Falls, Pennsylvania. And do you have a son named Peter Paul? He's like, she's like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what happened? He's
like, nice.
I was like, I hate to tell you, but he was found sucking a Cub Scout stick. She's like, oh my gosh, not him. And then he's like, the worst part about it, he had a gerbil up his ass and he didn't have insurance. So ma'am, I need you. She's like, I have Blue Cross. But that whole moment was just
and Paulie was ready to kill. I mean, Paulie was ready to slice and.
I
mean, but they were ready to kill him the season before.
He said he didn't care if he had 10 sons in the ICU with arrows in their heads. He was ready to kill him, man. He was like, it was. But Ralphie had some of the best one-liners, like he's talking about like how to make the spaghetti. Like I stole his spaghetti recipe, where you gotta infuse the noodles with the macaroni with a little bit.
I stole his eggs.
Eggs, I did that this weekend.
I've done the
sour cream.
Egg. Yeah, the sour cream. I put the sour cream in the scrambled eggs all the time. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna do it's Ralph's eggs. They're called Ralphie's eggs.
Sage and Keith are gonna enjoy that. That's yes.
No, it's just me. They don't like them, so it's just me. It's gonna be 3 eggs for Daddy.
How about Lincoln Logs? Do they like Lincoln Logs? Like apparently.
No. Yeah, it's
AJ like Lincoln Logs.
It's very simple over here. It's very simple over here. I was gonna say another one of my favorite moments is when at the end it was season 2 at the bus stop, and I think I've talked.
Oh yeah.
Both of you.
This is yeah.
I'm talking to both. Yeah, I talked to both of you about this independently. I loved him so. He's like, "What'd you do with him?" We buried him under a hill, under a tree with leaves all around. You did. No, Jen. Dennis, what are you doing, Jen?
I loved him so
much. So I used to stay when I would visit New York and recruiting for Morehouse.
You called me.
Yes, I called you from the room. I used to stay at the Hilton Newark, downtown, connected to Hilton Newark Penn Station. I was watching an episode on my laptop on HBO Go, rest in peace. Now HBO Max.
Yeah.
And then I looked out the window and I looked and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's the same." Well, hold up. And I saw the exact door and everything where they were sitting outside of. I mean, you could go down there tomorrow. There's no reason to, but you could go down there in the heart of Newark Penn Station.
Yeah.
Please only in broad daylight. And to see where that scene was shot at the bus depot right there, because it's buses on the ground, obviously, and then trains above. And it just blew my mind. I was like, okay, this is an actual location from The Sopranos. Yeah. I am overjoyed right now. This is it. But I love that moment when he blows up at her. Janice is still, I loved him so much. I mean, it's everything that is Janice.
Yeah.
You
it's
could
a great visit, Jan.
Great visit.
Yeah. I love the last 20 minutes of that, 25 minutes, from her killing him.
To
her calling Tony.
Yeah.
Tony coming.
Carmela so suspicious. Yeah.
Carmela calling just to confirm and then hanging up. I mean, everything about it. You know, and then you're calling.
Don't make me accessory after the fact.
Right.
What did he tell Carmela at the end of that episode?
He said, "Don't make me." He was like, she was like, "Well, what happened over there?" He's like, that wasn't a marriage made in heaven. That's and she was like, "Oh my gosh," and he's like, "Please don't make me an accessory after the fact, Carmela." Well, she pieced it together that but she didn't know who. And to this, she figured it out finally in Sopranos' home movies that it was Janice that did it because of her blabbermouth. Where Janice finally was like, "Yeah, I had a boyfriend that beat me up, blah blah blah," and I lost control.
Yeah.
To that point.
So it took the premiere of season 7. Yeah. It took that long.
Yeah.
For us to
come full circle on that.
Yeah. To come full circle on that. Gosh. I forgot about that Sopranos home movies.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But man, that.
So I think a tan Edie Falco is my favorite Edie Falco. I think that's what it is. I think so. Okay. Summer Edie Falco, Marco Polo in the pool, Edie Falco.
Oh, Marco!
That was a great episode.
Marco Polo, I love it.
Marco Polo is a great episode. Yeah.
She seems far more relaxed.
Yeah.
And really,
Marco.
really in the crazy thing about all of it is it does surround family. It's like it brings. You can read The Godfather, and obviously we've read The Godfather.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different book than the movie ever.
Yeah.
Would have been. Not when I say different, you know what I mean. It's far more.
It's a different experience.
It's different, completely different experience. And for anybody who's listened this long,
hey, if you weren't listening at 1.5, God bless you. You really love us.
For anybody who's listening this long, I hope that you have read The Sopranos. I mean, this could be The Godfather.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that to say family. It's they keep saying family, and there's so many traditions that I think this was a modern and fresh take on mafia life or mob life in the 90s and in the early 2000s and the aughts. In a sense wherein you're like, okay, it's not Capone, or it's not even John Gotti. There's some variation though.
I came in on the tail end of it.
I came on the tail end of this thing. He tells you that, and it wasn't his first words. Literally his first words. Christian, like when he's sitting down with Janice. And I want to get to Melfi in a moment too, but I'm just saying who's behind. I finally figured out that's his Over My Shoulder. I couldn't figure out who that was for a second. That's Lorraine there, and next to Mike. But I think that because it was a fresh take on it, I think that made it all that more appealing because we love gangster. I mean, we just, as a society, we do. There's countless. We just do. So I want to say this about Melfi. As I watch and watch and watch and watch, and whenever I binge it and do all that, I start to see how much of a corrosive element, or how the toll that it took on her life. I start to see the toll that treating Tony took on her life. And I mean, I don't think I realized it at first when I would watch it, probably because you had to wait a week, and to see the drinking and to see that, to realize she's got to go to Elliot Kupferberg, to
who I do not like. Can I say
that? Please talk.
Can't stand Bogdanovich.
I do not like him.
He's so
smug.
I hate him. Yes, good call.
Just the worst.
Sorry, but
no. I was just saying, like you would normally, even when Tony finds out, like, really, she goes to what too? She got to deal with you. And all the other people that she's working with. And so I think she is one of my heroes in the entire series because she asks questions no one else can ask. I think she has made progress. I do believe she has made progress.
Oh, for sure.
But he is still a sociopath. And he's never not gonna be a sociopath.
She was brave enough to cut ties with him when she needed to. And I think that was so, and the way that she cut ties with him was textbook on how you cut ties with a narcissist. Like it was very clear to the point. This can no longer go on. And she made it out unscathed, which you can't say about a whole lot of people in Tony Soprano's life.
No, you can't say it about a lot of women in Tony Soprano's life.
No, right.
And she didn't get a horseshoe pendant brooch.
No, she didn't. She didn't get the brooch.
No, I love that throughout the entire series, he was always quoting her. She would always use things that she had told him.
What did he say? What did you say about the hotel?
And Captain T's.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. His mom says, Captain T's. What?
I know a lot of inspired singers. Right.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely would go home. Christian, to your point, because that's something that happens in one of my favorite movies of all time, The Big Lebowski, where the dude will hear something from someone else says and then incorporate it into his speech later. Tony was big.
This cannot stand, man.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Will not stand, man. He's quoting W. George Herbert Walker, but 41. He's quoting 41.
In the parlance of our times,
I mean, but Tony just it's unabashed. I mean, it's like there's no works cited page. No MLA, no MLA, no APA, none of that.
And very often, just like Little Carmine, malaprops. It was your
Prince of Tides.
And even the foul FOWL language that I used, of which like,
hey, what's your favorite Tony blow up?
I think my least favorite was when he killed Ralphie.
Okay. Yeah.
I just thought because
she was a beautiful, innocent creature.
Right. That came after Paulie is furious about Ralphie calling his mom, and Tony, in no uncertain terms, is like, you cannot touch him. He's my biggest earner.
Yeah.
And then Tony kills him.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Joe, you say that yes, Ralphie killed the horse. He probably did, but we don't know that.
No, you and I, that was a conversation. Yeah. So I believe he killed the horse.
Yeah.
I believe he killed the horse.
What?
Right.
He was a horse.
It's a horse. And his son is in the ICU. I'm just like, So for Tony too, I thought that was not a good moment.
Yeah.
The killing of Ralphie was not a good moment.
Yeah. It's hard.
And it could have gotten him killed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He came perilously close. He got the bug spray. He got, got hit with a pan. The knife came real close.
No, well, the retaliation for killing a made man without I'm talking about within their own rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. They had problems. He and Ralph had problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That money couldn't even solve.
My favorite Tony blow up, it's hard for me to not say Whitecaps. It's hard for me to not go to
that's just epic. It was so epic.
And it was building to so much, like, I mean, he's like, you asked me what I saw in this woman, and I thought about it for long. It's because she's like, because she had ambitions, she had dreams. He's like, I have ambitions, and then
I'm here. Right. I have things to say.
Right. But then when she goes into the Furio thing, and then he punches the wall.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, I'm ashamed to say I've been to that point where you want to, and you unload on the wall, and he like went to the plaster. He went to the.
He had to break his hand. He probably had to break his hand.
Had to.
I believe he broke his hand for that.
Had to.
I'm sure they were like, God, Jim. Yeah. Probably shut down production for a month, man. Yeah. Unless that was the last scene.
Yeah. But that has to be
love with Syria.
Right. Dreaming and fantasizing.
Yeah. Right next to you. Right next to you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say mine is when he flips that table at Melfi's office and the glass shatters.
Glass shatters. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was
I was terrified.
Yeah. She was like, you
yes. I was terrified of that. I thought that was one of my favorite of his blowups. That, and then not a favorite, but I understood why he did it when he had to fight his seemingly half black driver.
Yeah.
And he called him a mutt. When he called him a mutt.
Yeah, in the Philadelphia Lawyer.
Yeah. All those things he said, but he called him a mutt.
Yeah, he did.
And
Perry Annunziata, Mr.
Perry Annunziata, and Perry. What was his nickname for him?
Muscles Marinara, and
Muscles Marinara, and he said he had a chili, like chili up at
Penny Arrabbiata.
Yeah, Penny Arrabbiata. Yeah.
What, all those things?
Yeah.
Hey, when he did it and he raised, whoa, they were like, no, you can't hit him. You can't, don't do that. And he eventually, he took care of business.
Because like how he sized everybody up before. Like he sized Bobby up. It was like, how much you weighing nowadays, Bobby?
Don't want that.
He revisited that and found out what it would have been like and got the bad end of that Sopranos home movie. So he made a good decision then.
Yeah. Bobby's tall and wide. I mean, that's just, you can't get away from Bobby.
Yeah. And who else did he size up? I think he sized at least
everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah. He looked at Paulie.
Yeah. He wasn't gonna hit Syl, but he looked at Paulie.
Yeah.
And then realized, okay, it's gonna be the kid.
Yeah.
Turns his ring.
Yeah. And that was that was.
You didn't close the refrigerator. Like,
do you think he threw up because he was sick of himself or because of the incision and it was too much?
Both.
I think both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've wondered that for a long time. I've been wanting to ask you both at the same time for years. So I'm glad I had something.
Medically. And I want to kind of circle back real quick to sorry.
I want to ask about that. Now, Calvin, were you a chemistry or bio major?
I was a chem major.
Okay, so we have a chem and bio major. Our two most difficult majors at Morehouse.
Did you go through McCray? I meant to ask you that, Christian.
Oh yeah, he was my freshman advisor.
Tough. You if you go through McCray, you've done something at Morehouse. So
God bless you both.
Yeah. But as a physician, like some of the things they got really right, some of the things they didn't. Like,
tell me, talk
Chris
to me.
Coming to directly after coding was just ridiculous. Like nobody has spontaneous return of circulation and is immediately wanting to talk to people right afterward. That does not happen. Like, you are still intubated for quite a while. Yeah. You are still recovering. Like, so that was kind of crazy.
It's a good story though.
Yeah, it was a good
father
story.
being in hell and
and the Irish
bar.
Yeah. Really good. I enjoyed that aspect. I thought that they handled the Tony coma really, really well. I thought that was very realistic in terms of like what a gunshot wound and everything after a gunshot wound is like. I thought that they handled the cancer and the dementia very, very well, particularly Uncle Junior's dementia and how he just kind of insidiously gets into it. And like, if you go back and look at some of the things that happen, there are hints and scenes along the way, like where he, you can kind of see it building. So I thought that they handled that really, really well. Other things medically, like, the way that they handle pharmacy and pharma, like especially like medications for psychiatry. Lithium doesn't quite do what they said it does. So there's that, and the way that Tony handles his Prozac and all this kind of thing, the erections and all those kind of things, that's real. Not being able to do that, and that was real. But generally, and then the last thing for me was the way that like, I don't have any patients that I'm just all consumed, all encompassed, like she did for Tony. I find that really unrealistic for her to have just this one patient who takes over and dominates everything. But then again, I don't have any mafioso patients, and I'm a primary care doctor and not a psychiatrist. So, but my psychiatry friends, I don't know any that just really get that take their work home with them to that extent, that get so enwrapped in their patients. I think that if anything, it becomes the opposite. But I thought it made for compelling TV. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got nothing to say to what you just said, because
you're the authority.
I mean, we could ask like Thomas Oden or somebody else that, because he practices in psychiatry.
Yeah.
So, he may have a different opinion about it, but that's the way, just from my little armchair.
Diagnosis.
Yeah. So how many times have you seen the show in total, Christian?
So this is the thing. I have watched many episodes, but I have only watched it from beginning to end the way that I did twice. And this was the second time.
Wow.
I was for the show. It's so crazy. I watched everything and I watched it in real time from beginning to end, lived and died with that show.
Wow.
And
that's
defended
crazy.
it. Anybody who's like, oh, Breaking Bad is better. No, it's not.
No.
Or whatever other show. Like, I will defend The Sopranos to the end.
Yeah.
But this was, to watch it in preparation for the show, was the second time that I watched it from beginning to end.
Nice.
In the way I had, the first time.
Nice. Joe, how many times have you seen it?
Beginning to end 5 times. Nice. And the first time beginning to end, though, for me, the first time was in 2008. I'd moved to Washington, and I moved to Washington in one of Faraji's homes, living in one of Faraji's homes in Washington.
Five
Wide Realty. My roommate was Scott Allison Roberts.
Nice.
And I had just taken a new job, and the woman I was seeing at the time was in her third year of law school. So weeknights weren't really something that we spent together. So I was deep into the Netflix DVD phase.
Yes.
And I started with 1 at a time, 2 at a time. I just got up to 4. And me and Scott would watch. I'd say, okay, we're gonna do. He was working on a campaign, and later the Obama campaign. But we said we're gonna do season 1 tonight, or one over the next 3 days. And as soon as we got through a DVD, I'd drop it in the mail, and then we'd start that next season. We were in rapid succession. So I think the first time I watched it fully through was in 2008 in like 3 weeks.
Okay.
Like me and Scott, we would knock it. The thing that was so sad about it, but it would make me sad. And I want to say that about the bit when you asked that question. I want to say that about the binge. I have to I have to balance it.
You have to decompress.
Yeah.
Because it's very.
Yeah.
I don't think you can watch that much death or depression or pain or all that and it not have some effect on your brain.
Yeah.
Like you're watching what you're watching seems we're watching something that seems real.
Yeah.
So you can't. I think the brain is like, oh, this is real.
Yeah, it's hard to separate.
Very, very difficult to separate it. So it shows up in your dreams.
Yeah.
It shows up in your speech pattern. It shows up in the way you walk. It shows up in your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's in your subconscious. And I was going off the other day on somebody. I was the King Chapel is notorious for not following brand identity guidelines at Morehouse, which is the bane of my existence. So they've become the bane of my existence because they will not use our proper fonts. They will not use the proper marks in the size that we've told them over and over. Every week we've told them that. And I just wrote back, like, fuck them. Like, we're gonna do this is how we're gonna do it. And I went back and I read what I wrote. I've been doing a Succession binge, and I said, look, hey guys, I'm sorry. I've been binging Succession.
Nice.
And I got a lot of Logan Roy in me. I got a lot of Roman Roy in me right now.
Yeah.
And this is just too much. I wasn't talking to them. I was talking to my colleagues. I was like, I'm cursing a lot on our Slack. Yeah. And I need to, I'm sorry. This is the only thing I've been watching. So I had to balance that with, then I go start watching Entourage, and so make it light, something light. Yeah. So I think even with these binges of Sopranos, I would balance it with like Curb, or something, just something, or the Office, so that I don't have to think. And I can just laugh and laugh and laugh, because watching that much, it's the same thing with The Wire. I mean, it is you watch it for the writing, you watch it for the acting, you watch it for the beauty of the production and all that. Yeah. But it's sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
The aforementioned Breaking Bad, same thing, man. Like you have to definitely do something completely opposite after.
Yeah, and I don't think people, when you're binging something like that, I don't think people take that into consideration until you realize, like, oh gosh, this is what I've been devoting. Not only are you devoting time to it, you are looking forward to watching. This,
you have episodes that you're waiting for.
I know it's out there. I know the test stream is there. That's my payoff. The test stream is my payoff.
I'm gonna sit through in Camelot to get to here.
All right. Actually, I'm not. I'm gonna sit.
No, I feel that, and I think that can't be underestimated. I definitely take on, like, I'm a different person when I'm binging The Sopranos. And so I do it a lot. So I've seen the show in total. I watch it twice a year. In full.
The whole show.
Wow. Since 2010. So I've seen it at least 20 times, and this is just my binges. This is not when I do a one-off episode here and there. I have watched The Sopranos in total at least 20 times. Wow. And
incredible.
Yeah, but I mean, to Joe's point,
and you weren't there in the beginning, but talk about being here now.
Let Lester Freeman say the dedication. Lester Freeman said,
but also Lester Freeman said, you guys lack for personal growth, and so there's something to be said about that too. But I do it because each time I get something different from it, and I feel different, and I identify with a different character every time. There's the time where I was really feeling Adriana and her arc, which we didn't talk too much about Adriana.
We did. It was sad.
Yeah, I mean,
I can talk to you about Adriana if you want me to talk about Adriana.
I think that
I have a good 45 seconds on Adriana.
Drea De Matteo doesn't get enough props for how well acted, especially like at the end. And the things that she goes through. I think they portrayed like the guilt that goes along with being a rat, especially unintended. She's not trying to be a rat.
No,
it really it expresses that very well. So identify with her. Identify with Chris on one run. There are runs where I'm trying to pick up on like when the first appearance of certain characters are, like, because they got like Eugene Pontecorvo very early on. He's in Chris's making ceremony. He's with Chris in his making ceremony.
Yeah,
he kind of drops off for a bit, and then like he doesn't come in, like if you're a novice watching, sometimes you think he just comes out of nowhere in season 5. But
Gene just kind of shows. He just keeps showing up back.
But he was there. He was in Ralphie's crew. You know what I mean?
He was in Ralphie's the Cifaretto crew.
Gigi. Like
Gigi.
Just
Gigi.
Different. Yeah.
Spackle.
It's coming out like spackle. It's such a horrible way to go.
The worst.
There's so many ways to watch the show. Is I guess the point that I'm making, and so. I've watched it so many times, and to your point, Christian, it is my favorite show. I will concede in arguments to people that yes, maybe the Wire is the most well-made show, or Breaking Bad is the most consistent show. Like, Jeff is consistent with like, oh, Breaking Bad doesn't have any bad seasons, no bad episodes. And yes, you're right about that. I mean, there's no a hit is a hit on Breaking Bad, but there's also there's no Isabella, there's no Knight in White Satin Armor either. Like the highs in the Sopranos are
astronomical.
high. Yeah. And the characters stay with you so much. I mean, like when I watch Breaking Bad, I hate literally everyone on there. Everybody on Breaking Bad is a deplorable, annoying, horrible person, with the slight exception maybe of Gus Fring. And he is, he's still really, really bad. On the Sopranos, yes, these are bad people, but I love them all. Yeah. Even Furio, even not AJ.
You can't love AJ.
I don't love AJ. Yeah,
you can't love AJ.
AJ belongs in the Breaking Bad universe.
Yeah.
But otherwise, these are characters that like I feel like I don't want to ever know them. I never want to get involved in the mafia whatsoever. I don't want to accidentally enter into their world. But I love the vicarious living, like the things that they do. We didn't talk about. Let's talk real briefly, Joe, actually, and Christian, about the Black characters on The Sopranos, because we talked a little bit about Noah, right? Yeah. But the
I hate Noah. I hate Noah.
Yeah. Noah's.
I'm not a fan of Noah's either.
Noah's a snug asshole. Yeah, I agree.
Period. Yeah. Regardless of color, regardless of where he's from.
He took a restraining order out on a girl, man. Come on, man.
I mean, come on.
What brother does that? You sit your ass down.
Yeah.
Go to class. Just go to class.
Was your dad in those Tarzan movies? Like, so but how about Charles S. Dutton's character, the police officer that pulls Tony over?
That was, and then he pulls Tony over. He's a principal man, and he loses his job, and then he's working at the
Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah,
you have Charles S. Dutton's character. You have the preacher.
Yeah.
And and Tony has a really good conversation with his dad, and then the dad passes away.
Yeah, Greg Allen Williams and Bill Cobbs.
Bill Cobbs, the man.
But then go ahead.
No, please go ahead. No, please.
No. I was only going to say. I'm asking a question. Is it the preacher that Tony refers to as his Mulian? Like
no.
No. Who was that?
No, that was wasn't that somebody else?
I think that was Vonnie Curtis Hall.
Yeah, it was Vonnie Curtis Hall.
Okay.
When they were doing the HUD scan.
Yeah.
That's right. The
great Shylights episode.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Oh girl. Yeah, and we talked briefly about the music. Like Christian, you brought up how in season 5 they used the music really well. That one episode with Old Girl. Woo.
Yeah. What's her name?
Irina.
So that's a bad blow up. I think where Tony with the belt.
Yes, that is a bad blow up. You're right.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
So the actor that plays him, man, I cannot remember his name right now.
I can't either, but
was recently on Talking Sopranos, and he was talking about how he did not want to. Initially, it was written so that Tony was going to pull his pants down and whip his bare ass.
Oh,
and he was saying he did not want to do that, and he was saying that one of his favorite moments with Jim Gandolfini was like he came to him and said, "Look, these are the issues I have with this particular scene, and why I don't want to do it." And Jim basically kind of went like it was like, "Yeah, if you don't want to do it, I'm with you." And he thought that was really gracious, and I think I agree with him. It was really gracious of him as an actor to kind of see where he was, how he was coming and how he was feeling with it, and it still is a powerful scene.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have played the way they wanted to play if he had done that to him. I think that would have been just too much.
I think the vicious whipping on the bare skin with the belt of a grown man, an elected official in front of his girlfriend that they both have been involved with. I think that was more than enough. I don't think bare ass was just too much. David Chase, Terry Winter, what's Madman's guy? What's his name?
Tim Van Patten or no. Alan Coulter. No.
The one who Matt Weiner. Matt Weiner. Okay. I think that was a little too far there. Yeah. But whoever decided to play that song, and the fact that it came up earlier, they're all in it's a schwitz, and the song comes up, and they're like, "Yeah, remember this one? Yeah, Yeah. And if you think about like, hey, we're all from here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now we were from. Yeah. Now you got the brother, the Jewish guy, and Tony, and they all knew that song, right?
Yeah.
And so it means something different to everybody, but it's a unifier. And so then later when he plays it and he's crying after he plays it, he's crying. He plays the song on the radio.
He's crying, and then he goes over there. That's what makes it.
Okay, my bad. Okay. Then that's how that happened. Okay, right. But that, I thought that was actually, I can't believe I forgot, because I wanted to talk about that the whole time. That was probably one of the most vicious, non-business related. And then. Was there ever another time that they did business? Wasn't there like one other time he called him and he did something?
Yeah, Zellman came to his mom's he came to somebody else's funeral. I don't think it was his mom's funeral. He met Zellman at his mom's funeral. That was the first appearance of Zellman.
Yeah,
Zellman
she was a spirited
Newarker. Yeah,
Newarker. Yes.
He came back on somebody else's funeral, and I can't remember exactly who, but Zellman was back. He comes back at least once after that vicious beating. So he had to, kind of be humiliated by Tony again. But I almost got through this whole episode and didn't mention another one of my favorite characters, and I'd be remiss if I did not mention her, because I think
I know where you're going.
One of my favorite med school old friends, Maria Schindler. My nickname for her is Gloria Trillo, and Gloria Trillo.
Just watch that episode. I just watched that episode, her first one the other day.
That arc was so good. Annabelle Sciorra, just incredible as playing because she wasn't quite bipolar. I forget what her actual diagnosis was besides major depressive, but she just she had this masochist side of her where she wants to die by suicide by cop.
And he's saying to Tony when he's choking,
right? Kill me, kill me. Right.
Oh my God.
And then when they finally, when Patsy takes her out on the test drive, and he's like, your breast will be smeared on the seats and it won't be cinematic. Like,
Patsy got some lines, boy. Patsy got some lines.
Yeah, he does. Her character, man, Gloria Trillo, and every time they called back to her, was just phenomenal, because she was the archetype for a lot of what Tony liked. When he goes to Valentina later, like, it's a poor man's Gloria. Gloria was it for him, and I think that was a very strong character that they built for her. I hated to see her go, but Gloria Trillo, glad I remembered that.
What was the lady's name who took care of Olivia?
Svetlana.
Yeah,
Irina's cousin. Yeah, you got a one-legged one now. Look, and then how Bronca, the other cousin, I guess, came in and she, she knew something had happened, and she was like FICA and federal withholding. Like, we got into an argument.
He said FICA. He said my whole house is my marriage is breaking up because of FICA.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was one of the funniest things in the world. Yeah. No, your marriage is breaking up because you had sex with this woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's. But
I have ice in my vein when I sleep with you. She was that. Yeah. Svetlana was fantastic.
She was tough.
It was a good callback. It was a good when Carmela finds out. It's a good callback to the scene where Olivia dies. I thought that was
yeah.
And they had the drink. They drank with it.
Yeah.
And discuss your mother's alopecia.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, Carmela's not wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it.
Shrill.
That's all I'm saying. You're right. What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
You lifted a couple thousand from the bird feeder.
Out of the bird feeder.
Right.
Your cousin Brian.
Yeah. Listen to you. You sound demented.
Right.
That was weird. That little Brian story arc was interesting too.
Yeah, because Brian couldn't hang. He was always falling off,
drunk, and just.
Yeah.
What I mean, he was obviously they were making money, but he could not hold his liquor at all, and that gets annoying. Yeah, particularly among guys who can hold their liquor.
I mean, listen, can drink you under the table and then say.
Yeah, and still shoot straight.
Can't take you nowhere.
Nowhere, and we're going out. Yeah. That's the nature of what
right.
And we won't be back.
Yeah, Any other moments or anything left to say about the show? I mean, I think the impact is pretty clear. Everything that comes after this owes a debt of honor to the Sopranos, no matter what show you're talking about.
I completely agree.
They all owe a debt of honor to the Sopranos. I think that they made TV acting, like you could get legit actors like, the Steve Buscemi's, anybody coming directing, featuring in it. Like this was the gateway to Netflix shows. All of this. We wouldn't have TV that we have now without the Sopranos. So
I agree. I mean, there's no argument. I mean, this opened the door. I don't know what else to say. This literally opened the door. This is the gateway to that whole way of let me give it a little Jenny.
Oh, Jenny Sack.
Jenny Sack. Jenny Sack.
I mean,
I quit. I lost 13 pounds. I lost 30 pounds, and you can't quit.
Yeah, it's like it was like a 29 or like some like odd number. You can give up smoking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then.
Hey, look. So
we got to talk about the finale, though. We got to talk about the last
episode. Before we to that, I'm going to give 45 seconds to Adriana Lacerda real fast.
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay.
When you're as beautiful as she is, and you take care of yourself the way she does, I think it's easy to overlook the outstanding acting job. And she's already Italian American, so it's easy to overlook the outstanding acting job that she did as this North Jersey girlfriend, saying Christopher, the way she said it, and the way she was so down for Chris,
her Tennessee William,
her Tennessee William, bought the program. I mean, just doing anything she possibly could, to support him, and just wanted him to not do drugs, not beat her, and marry her, and try to have kids. That's all. That's it, and not kill her dog. And all those things. And I think she is an unsung hero. Because she was a constant positive force, I think, in many respects there. And she was always trying to better herself. She wasn't just preaching it to Chris. She was literally trying to better herself, but she believed in his dreams, because I never believed he had any business doing anything film related whatsoever. Never believed it. Never believed it. In fact, I wrote my least favorite storyline was Chris's filmmaker arcs.
But he made Cleaver though.
He did make Cleaver. He did Luxury Lounge. He went out there. He did,
but you're right.
They did all that. They beat up Betty Bacall.
Then he killed the writer. Like when it was all over, he ended up killing the guy.
That was JT Dolan, man. R.I.P. JT.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But having said that, much love for Adriana Lacerda. Much love for Drea De Matteo.
Before we jump into the final episode, let me give you a couple of real quick pearls, things you may or may not have known about. So first of all, Adriana's FBI informant, the FBI agent that they hook her up with. So if you watch live, you remember the very last episode of season 2, I think it was, or season 3, whenever the last episode of season 3, the character was actually played by Fairuza Balk of The Water Boy, Vicky Valancourt. And she couldn't commit to a season. So they let her go.
I don't think it would have worked.
I don't think it would have worked either.
I think that would have been horrible, by the way.
Danielle from Whippany.
The girl from The Craft. The girl from The Craft. That would not have worked.
That's right.
I think the woman that played the FBI agent was perfect casting.
Yeah, I agree.
Particularly with the hair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit with a Starbucks. You want one?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit with a Starbucks. Who said I'm gonna sit with a Starbucks?
Yeah, man.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Another one, real quick, is like Frank Cupertino, the FBI head, was actually he's the proprietor of Rouse in New York, the famous Italian restaurant that has the sauces, RAOs, Rouse.
In real life?
Yeah, in real life. The restaurant, they don't take reservations.
Wait. Which one is this? Is the agent that was on his cake that was always there?
The head. Like
the head guy. The head guy. He's a famous restaurateur.
Restaurateur,
but he's he does New York. He's been in Woody Allen films. He's been in a number of other things. He plays like police officers or but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he was in
Goodfellas
too, I think.
Yeah, he's in Goodfellas too. He's in a lot of stuff. But he's the proprietor of that restaurant that
Wow.
you know.
I've heard of it. I
did not know that.
Yeah, they sell frozen dishes, and I got a couple of Rouse dishes in my.
That's why I heard it. That's why I heard it, because of the frozen dishes. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna get something.
Nice.
Let's do it.
You know, we talked a little bit about some of the characters who played some of the same character, like our guy Vito Spatafore. I forget his real name. They played. He did 2 roles in it.
Yeah.
There's at least a couple other actors that had 2 roles, like Patsy Parisi, obviously playing Philly Parisi. But there's at least one more that I can't think of where that occurred. And then just the callbacks to other TV shows, like how JD, what is JD's last name? JD Williams, who was in both Oz and The Wire, also was in Sopranos briefly with in the Stick Up Gang with Brendan Fallone, where they're sticking up the trucks.
Bodie
Rodas. So
yeah.
he's there. Omar, we get an Omar Little sighting. You know, very, very, like in season 3 with Jackie Jr., who we really didn't. Jackie Jr. I hated Jackie.
Oh, Jackie Jr. is one of the worst.
Yeah, he's one of the worst. He's one of the worst.
Gosh, I messed around and watched. Go ahead for Rosalie.
Yes, I feel bad for Rosalie, but you know, you can't feel bad for him.
No, not at all.
Every decision was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. One last. Okay, so then Matt and Sean, you know, Lilo Brancato Jr. From Bronx Tale. Those characters.
Matt Bevilacqua.
Eva Drinkwater. Like, I'm going back to Drinkwater. It's such a great little storyline. You know, they didn't do enough with it. I like when Furio came by and was knocking on the door real hard, and they're watching Up in the Club. Like they're watching a rap video in their drawers.
That was a strange.
That was strange.
The reality of what? Hey, they just did this. You know, they fenced this stuff and did all this, and then
you want 1,000 more?
Like no. Then what are you gonna do? Then to your point, they're not gonna mess with Furio.
No, not at all. And then finally, my favorite, and when I say favorite, I mean not favorite, TV mom of all time, Suzanne Shepherd, who played Lorraine Bracco's mom in Goodfellas.
She was
also Carmela's mom. And
then Carmela's mom.
She plays Steven Sherpa's mom in Blue Bloods and on Blue Bloods.
Okay.
She's everywhere. So those are my little tidbits. I think we talked about just about everything. So now let's talk about the finale, because it was so polarizing in the time.
Yeah.
And my thoughts have evolved on it. But what was your initial impression when you first saw it, Christian? How did you feel?
Oh, I was horrified. I was like, what do you mean? What's this black screen? Is the TV, what's happening? You're like, did the TV go out? The lights are still on. So like the power is not out. It was disorienting and confusing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I don't even know, then like there wasn't Twitter for people to be talking about it, and there wasn't a bunch of chatter.
Yeah.
I think I was just like looking for things to like read and like, well, you know, and then, you know, I think I just decided that, you know, Tony was not killed. That's not going to happen. And you know, whenever I heard things to the contrary, I just refused to believe them.
Okay.
Like, there's no way that.
Is that how you still currently feel?
No. I think he was killed.
Okay. Joe, what were your initial thoughts and how do you feel now?
Much like Christian said, I thought something happened with the TV. And it hit me at that moment. This is really over. When the credits started to roll. And I told you both independently, David Chase said in Vanity Fair, this is my show. This is not your show. So I don't care. I'm gonna end it how I want to end it. I'm gonna do whatever we want to do. And then later he said, you know, when Tony died, I mean, you know, whatever. So you know, it was an inevitable thing. It was coming. But my initial thought, I like the episode though. I like the episode too. I like the episode and the anxiety that built up.
Yeah.
In the last 10 minutes of that, and the last 10, and the last 5.
Yeah.
The anxiety was ratcheted up all the way. And even as deep in the game as Tony was, he still had no one with him. that day.
Yeah.
Which is usually a telltale sign of a mistake.
Yeah.
And
Good
we can look at history to tell us, that. But having said that, I think Tony's gone. I think they got him in front of his family.
Which is, yeah.
But
who was the guy that
little cockeyed guy?
It was members only guy?
Yeah, members only, little cockeyed guy. The one you can't stand. The one you can't stand, Christian.
Wait, was he there?
No, but I think oh no, I don't know who would have come in there. But I think it was New York. Well, obviously it was New York. I think
you think it was little the little guy.
I think they went.
Wait,
Al,
okay,
yeah.
so
Albie.
So two questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the guy that Tony had the meeting with in the cold warehouse.
Yeah, I believe
and it was he agreed to let Tony kill Phil.
You do what you got to do.
Right, do what you got to do. But then even after Phil was killed, that he decided to take out Tony.
I think he did.
Okay, that's okay.
Because that was a theory. We do that. We wipe them out and we work with whatever's left. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And I think it's clear that regardless of all that, they were still working a plan.
Yeah. A decapitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of the fact that they were still working the plan. So they were running the offense. Let's run the offense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then that makes sense to me. So did we not see the killer though? It was like the man who went to the bathroom and the man who was at
I don't think we saw the killer.
Okay, we didn't see the killer.
Yeah. I personally don't think we did.
I think it was members only guy, personally. But so all right, so my initial, I saw this with Chipman and Iman Spalding, and we all were in shock. We thought something happened with the cable. Yeah. We investigating the back of the TV, like what's going on, like flipping out. And then we were angry. We went through all the stages of we were in denial. We were angry. we grieved. We bargained, and then we finally accepted. And so, I think that the mission accomplished from a psychological standpoint. I think that's what David Chase wanted us to do. As I watch it, much like Inception, each time I feel differently about what happened, and I'm currently pretty firmly entrenched in the Tony died camp for a lot of the reasons that Joe mentioned, like the Vanity Fair article. The way they explain, I think when it happens, everything just goes black. And the whole Silvio, when they killed the hairdo, Jerry Torchiano at the dinner, you don't hear it coming. That whole thing, I think it all was that was purposeful. Everything that they did was purposeful. And I think that's how it went down. But more to the point of what you guys are talking about, there is a conspiracy that I watched recently that talked about the fact that they think, and I want to know what you guys think about this. They think that it was actually Patsy Parisi and Pauly in conjunction that set it up. And here's why. So they say that, initially the whole setup to kill Phil, they weren't in with that. They were in league with Burt Gervasi and those guys that were getting hit hard by New York and wanted to kind of make things right. Patsy had a legit beef with Tony for killing his brother.
For killing Phil.
Yeah. Pauly, as we have established on this show, can't be trusted. And, although he was very loyal to Tony, I think that if an opportunity arose, and I think an opportunity did arise, and I think Pauly might have had second thoughts initially about doing it when he got appointed to the captaincy of the Cifaretto family. Yeah. But I think Pauly was, they also mentioned some stuff about how, Pauly, there's that scene way back in Funhouse. I think it was the episode where Tony's looking through a thing on the boardwalk, and he sees a scene of him playing chess or something with Pauly, and he pulls a gun out and shoots Pauly.
Oh yeah.
So they call back to that. They call back to Pauly having that, when it's my turn, am I going to stand up? When he got back from the boat and all that kind of thing. So, long story short, they thought that Pauly was really in league with it, just for trying to, initially when they told him to play, he was like, I'm not trying to go to war. I lived through Castellano by the skin of my balls. I'm not trying to do that again.
Yeah.
So the long story short of it is that they said it was Philly and Pauly together. It's a little far-fetched, but
I think it's a little far-fetched. I appreciate the time that was put into that. I think it's a little far-fetched for this reason. he was already jealous of Philly. I mean, who was going to take over that? You know what I mean? He was jealous of Phil.
Yeah.
Anyway, that just doesn't make the most sense to me. Well, they said
that he was trying to feign jealousy was their argument, which
okay.
I don't agree with.
At least someone thought to address what I just said, because he definitely. He's like, you remember when he asked him to do to be,
you know how just how to get me,
and he said he's gonna be my family soon. He's gonna be my family soon anyway. Okay, all right. I don't know. I think there are some merits to that, but we'll never know.
Yeah, but I think it was members only guy that killed him.
Do you? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the other thing I was gonna say was they ratcheted up the tension like you guys talked about so well, where everybody who comes through that door, you're looking at them, you're jumping, jumping like is it these black guys? Is it who is it that's going off Tony? You know what I mean? And like Meadow and her horrible parallel parking, and like the music building, and it's just like what's gonna happen, and then nothing happens, and I guess that's life.
So does she make it into the restaurant and see her father be killed?
She came in. She the last thing you hear is the door ringing with her. That's her coming in.
And then maybe she sat down, but we don't know like when. Like it's not like saying that that dark moment.
She's not in the booth. She's not in the booth.
Yeah, she's not in the booth yet. So I think she saw it coming in. I think she saw it coming in. I think that was it. And Lord knows what happens after that. And hopefully maybe they address it in Many Saints of Newark. But knowing David Chase, I doubt it.
No, I don't think they would. I mean, it's a prequel.
It's too far. Yeah, it's too far ahead.
There's no way to.
A lot of prequels circle back to the beginning of the time. Too.
That's true. I wonder how they would do it, though. I mean, if anything, I guess Coming to America just showed us that you can kind of go back a little bit and play with some of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they can make the prequel and then they can make another movie.
Yeah. I hope they do.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Fellas, we did the Sopranos, man. I think we did.
This is amazing. We can keep talking, but this is
our longest episode yet. I must say so.
How long?
Gosh.
How long?
We started.
There's no telling. There's literally no telling.
A little bit over 3 hours. A little bit over.
Wow.
There's literally no telling.
This is a Zack Snyder cut of podcast.
When I tell you, the Justice League is literal 4 hours. My boss told me it was 4 hours, and I thought he was kidding.
No, it's
4 hours. Should I watch it?
4 hours. No, you absolutely should. You absolutely should.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
It's worth seeing. It's actually a very good movie. It has flaws, but definitely
like movies do. Movies do.
Yeah, like movies.
Oh, nice. I like that one. That's a good one. It's a great one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
So Christian, man, you brought the heat, brother. Like we thought you were. Oh man.
Yes.
That's
thank you. Well, I mean, I was intimidated, so I was like, let me just come in. But this is my favorite show. I feel really honored and thrilled and happy to have been asked and to be able to share this space. Thank you very much. I mean,
you would have no one else, Christian.
No one else, brother. No one else, brother. This is a tremendous thrill for us, and the fact that you did a binge in preparation shows the dedication, shows the level of dedication alone it shows your love for the show and the source material, which is obviously why we've been here talking about it. For
love for the show hours. And respect for you too. I was not going to come here.
Thank you.
Thank you. It goes both ways, man. We love you.
I love you as well, brother. Absolutely. And Calvin, what's next on the list?
Okay, so man, we got a lot of stuff still on tap, man. We still got quite a few movies.
I know.
So what I was thinking about was like, I mean,
I think I picked the last one.
Yeah, you did. I mean, well, you picked it. It was on my list, so we kind of are in uncharted territory, uncharted waters. But I'll present you a couple of options here, Joe.
Okay, so talk to me.
We're in the realm of TV. I want to spread out our TV episodes if possible.
Understand.
So, we have The Player, which is that's we're gonna bring back another guest for that, so it might not be quite yet for that.
Okay.
we have a certain novelization, Terry McMillan book turned into a novel that we can talk about.
Yeah, I think we need a.
We kind of wanted.
Yes.
We kind of wanted a voice. We kind of
woman. We need a woman for that.
We need a woman for that.
Yes.
I tell
Two
you
guys
what,
talk about Wait to Exhale.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
Let's keep it mafia then, man.
Oh, what's up?
Let's talk about what we want to talk about for a long time. Let's talk about The Godfather, man.
Oh God. Okay.
Are you ready for that one? Or
I'm ready. I'm always ready. I'm always ready for The Godfather.
Or we can, in the theme of one of the things that we've been uncanceling people here lately, we can talk about Let's Do It Again.
Let's talk about The Godfather. Let's get out of Women's History Month. Let's talk about The Godfather.
Good call, Joe. Good call.
Let's talk about The Godfather.
Good call. So
although there's some rough moments in there though too.
There are.
Women.
Well, it's rough for women all the way around. Hence, why we need to really celebrate Women's History Month and
365.
365. Like 365. For real. Like let's elevate our mind states, guys. And not in a woke way. Let's really honor and recognize
substantially
our women and support and protect our women and allow them to protect us and allow that love to just circle. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
At any rate, man, we're gonna do The Godfather next week. We're gonna keep it gangster.
Love it. I love it. The originator, none greater.
Yeah,
Francis Ford Coppola's
monumental
1972 Christmas Day, 1972. The magnum opus
based on Mario Puzo's bestseller.
Bobby Evans.
Did you know this story that he wrote that book? That was his third. I think it was his third novel.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was appendicitis or something, but he was like, he was trying to write literary novels, and he collapsed on a New York sidewalk, and he was, waiting for the ambulance and was like, I'm going to die trying to write these literary novels. I need to make some money. And he wrote The Godfather.
Nice. And
to write a book to make money.
Oh, that's right. Christian, you were an editor. We have so many jewels that we are not.
So absolutely. Absolutely. And I did not know that about the, they're doing a film about the making of the film. They're doing a Mank or a RKO 281 about the making of an actual film about the making of The Godfather.
Of course.
And somewhere in South America. But they're making it's been made right now.
Oh, wow.
About what they went through, what Coppola went through with Evans and all that, which obviously we'll reference. But I've watched so many documentaries on the making of this film that I look forward to actually discussing the film itself and the fact that I saw 3 first.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. And I was late. I saw 3 on Christmas Day, 1990, opening night, in Dallas, Texas. But anyway, Christian Chibuzo Wachuku Jr.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for the full name.
No, it's me. I'm probably the only person. There might be some other Christian Wachuku, but maybe I'm the only.
But
Chibuzo Junior, right?
True. And I still remember that story you told me. Somebody in the caf, you were saying Wachuku, and somebody said Wachuku. Somebody said it to you like that in the caf. You're like, okay.
You say so.
All right.
All right. I've lived with my entire life.
Yes, but you got it.
Okay.
No, but it has been an extreme pleasure and a sincere sensation having you here with us and enlightening us and elevating this show. We've spun off the planet, brother. This show is spun off the planet. Yeah. The elevation of art.
Listen at 1.5, guys.
Yeah, you gotta listen at 1.5. That way, but please listen at 1.5 because you're gonna miss some gems from these 2 encyclopedias of the Sopranos, Christian and Calvin. So thank you, Christian, and Calvin. I'll kick it over to you.
Hey, man. So we have closed this tab, and we wait for you guys next week for The Godfather. We'll be here. Enjoy. Thank you guys. Subscribe, like, follow, review, leave a comment, tell a friend, all that stuff. We're on Apple. I went to the Apple store the other day. The Apple guy looked us up at the Apple store. We're there. We're on Spotify,
Rose must remain.
YouTube.
All those things. I'm trying to think of the song Al Martino sang. What did Johnny Fontaine sing?
Oh man, come on. Next episode.
Okay.
All right, guys. We're out.
All right.